Douluo, leave everything on autopilot and become a god. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 326, Aoki Dragon King Pill. Although it was a laugh, Hu Jiu was thinking, not about Ning Rangrong, but coveted her family's soul skills. The 7 treasure glazed tile sect has a great business, and there must be a lot of self-created spirit skills in its collection. After all, it is one of the top 3 sects. Although currently, he is not short of soul skills, but there is no such thing as too much soul skills. He planned to take advantage of this month's vacation to upgrade the hidden weapon technique and phantom dodge. After they were all advanced, he would be able to free up 2 hang-up positions, just enough to turn his right arm into a petrified soul bone and a tyrant body soul technology to hang up point. However, it is not that simple to obtain soul skills in the hands of the 7 treasure glazed tile school. It is not like distraction control. After all, distraction control is not only available in the 7 treasure glazed tile school, it's useless for those who don't use it. After all, with so much time to cultivate soul skills, it is better to use it to cultivate soul power and improve one's level. It's not worth thinking about. Just like Ning Rangrong himself, he obviously has a lot of soul skill resources, so why only practice distraction and control one soul skill? It's not because there is not enough time. I'm afraid that the time to cultivate soul power will be delayed. Maybe, in this world, only Hu Jiu has the confidence to practice soul skills. After all, he's a hooker for the next period of time. Hu Jiu was still cultivating the 2 spirit abilities that had reached full level, but at the same time, he was also conducting another research. That's right. He was interested in the 7-in-1 fusion technique that Kanghu Academy displayed. This soul skill required the talent of fusion, and Ning Rangrong also had this talent. However, the 7 members of Kanghu Academy are not the same. The reason why the Kanghu Academy was able to successfully fuse the ring and create the 7-in-1 fusion technique was because their martial spirit characteristics were the same, and they were all gem type spirits. But they are different. Their spirit powers are various and not the same. It is very difficult to create their own spirit ability fusion skills. Its difficulty is at least 10 times higher than that of Kanghu Academy. However, in the original work, if the master can create a 7-in-1 fusion technique suitable for the Shrek 7 devils, then he can also create it. After all, he wasn't alone. In terms of creative ability, Tang San was no worse than Grandmaster. It could be said that he was out of blue. I believe that with his help, and with Tang San, they would definitely be able to create their own 7-in-1 fusion technique. It's just that Tang San was concocting pills during this time, and he didn't have time to participate in the creation of the 7-in-1 fusion technique. Only Hu Jiu was slowly studying it. The 1-month vacation was not as long as I imagined, and more than half a month passed in a blink of an eye. On this day, Tang San, whom he hadn't seen for a long time, finally came out. Haha, little San, how's it going? Is the alchemy still going well? Hu Jiu felt quite cordial when he suddenly saw Tang San appear. Of course. Tang San smiled slightly. The 24 bridges around his waist lit up, and a bottle of medicinal pill appeared in his hand. It took 20 days to finally live up to my expectations and successfully refine the medicinal pill. I named it King Mu Dragon King Pill. Hu Jiu raised his eyebrows and asked happily, what does this medicinal pill say? The Greenwood Dragon King Pill is made by using the heart of the Greenwood Dragon root tree as the main medicine and adding a lot of precious herbs picked in the eyes of ice and fire. Because the Greenwood Dragon root tree itself has a certain dragon attribute bloodline. So after becoming a Dan, I retained this feature. What about the specific effect? Hu Jiu asked. The first is of course to improve your soul power. With your level, you should at least increase it by 1 level after refining. If you still take it, maybe she will directly break through to level 50. The second is to increase the strength of the body, because this medicine pill contains the blood of the dragon attribute. After refining, it can greatly enhance our physique. Tang San proudly introduced that this was what he had spent a great deal of time researching. Awesome, as expected of Master of Medicine refining. Tang San refined such a good thing. Of course he wouldn't be stingy with his praise. I'm going to find them all and take the pills together. By the way, are your pills enough? Just as he was leaving, Hu Jiu suddenly turned around and asked, enough, enough. A total of 12 have been refined, and there is still one more. Ask Dean Flender if you want it. Tang San said with a smile. Okay. During this time, because the teacher broke through to the Soul Douluo realm one step ahead of time, the Dean was envious. Now that you have your medicinal pill, maybe he will break through all of a sudden. Said this, Hu Jiu also laughed. In the past, due to his rank, Flender's strength was still higher than that of Zhao Walqi, but because Hu Jiu was his disciple, he opened a small stove for Zhao Walqi and surpassed Flender in rank. This made Flanders anxious. After a while, the 11 Shrek monsters were gathered by Hu Jiu and Tang San. Third, brother, where is the medicinal pill? Let me see what it looks like. As soon as he entered the door, he heard Ning Rangrang's impatient voice. In the past 20 days, her level has not changed at level 49. If there is no other way, it would be impossible to break through to become the Soul King before the promotion. Oscar is also in a similar state, and he has not broken through the level point in just 20 days. Only Meng Yan, Terlong, and Jiang Zhu had broken through the ranks. Because they have the lowest level, it is relatively easy to improve their soul power, and no one has improved one level. Haha. Rangrang, you are in a hurry too. Oscar teased. Nonsense. Can't you be in a hurry? The promotion will be in a few days. I still want to get the 5th spirit ring before that. Ning Rangrang rolled his eyes. Yes, Rangrang. Zio-san said that the Cyanwood Dragon King pill he made is very effective, and we will definitely achieve a breakthrough. Damubei clenched his fist. Everyone is in a critical period of spirit power improvement, and he is the same. He still hopes to break through the 60th level through Tang San's medicinal pill. Okay, little San, don't hesitate, hurry up, take out the medicinal pill. I'm still waiting for refining. Hu Jiu urged, not being polite at all. Of course, with their friendship, there is no need to be polite. Tang San didn't talk too much and sent out a Greenwood Dragon King pill by himself. It was only at this time that Hu Jiu saw the appearance of the medicine pill. The Aoki Dragon King pill does not look very big, only the size of the little finger, and the overall appearance is cyan, and the pill also emits this faint sky blue halo, which is not ordinary at first glance. It looks pretty. With a glance, Hu Jiu simply threw it into his mouth. As soon as the medicinal pill entered, Hu Jiu felt a boiling power. This power was not arrogant, but it was very lively. It instantly filled every corner of his body, making him feel warm. Chapter 327 Double Happiness. Hu Jiu's perception ability is so sharp, the vigorous medicinal properties spread all over the body, and the spirit power in the body is stimulated by the medicinal properties and starts to increase in an instant. At the same time as his soul power increased, he also felt that his body was being tempered by medicinal properties, becoming stronger and stronger. You must know that compared with soul power, physical fitness is the most difficult to improved. After all, in the cultivation of soul power, as long as there is no bottleneck, every meditation can be improved. But the physical quality is different. As long as you don't practice for one day, your physical quality will definitely go back 3 days. Maybe for others, the physical quality is almost a little bit, and the impact is not big. But they are different, because Hu Jiu's ginseng practice requires a lot of physical fitness. Those with poor physical fitness simply cannot hold on to the tenfold increase in cultivation speed. This was also an important reason why the Shrek 9 Devils were particularly concerned about their physical fitness. Alright, now, the medicinal pills that Tang San refined can actually improve physical fitness. This way, wouldn't it be equivalent to improving the speed of cultivation? Seeing Hu Jiu start refining the medicinal pills, Zio Wu and the others followed suit, and they didn't know their own place. The only one still standing at the scene was Tang San, because he had already taken the Cyanwood Dragon King pill. Otherwise he wouldn't be so clear about the effect of the pill. 2 hours later, Hu Jiu opened his eyes with satisfaction, and the strong momentum on his body disappeared in a flash. Zio Jiu, how is it? What is the effect? Tang San asked with a light smile. The effect is very good. Just this one pill saved me at least 2 months of cultivation time. Hu Jiu slapped his mouth, feeling the urge to go out to find other treasures and give it to Tang San to make pills. Unfortunately, this kind of thing can only be thought about. The tree heart is a treasure of heaven and earth, which has always been met but not sought. It is already a great chance to meet it once. Not long after Hu Jiu woke up, the rest of Shrek also woke up one by one. This time it was lively. After refining the medicinal pills, everyone gained a lot, and each one of them emotionally reported their gains. Hu Jiu, Martial Soul Ginseng, Level 73 Food System Soul Saint. 0 Wu, Martial Soul Soft Bone Rabbit, 63rd Level Agility Attack Type Soul Emperor. Tang San, Martial Soul Blue Silver Grass, Level 60 Control System Soul King. Damu Bay, Martial Soul White Tiger, 60th Level Storm Type Soul King. Zhu Zhu King, the Martial Soul Ghost Cat, the 53rd Level Agility Attack Type Soul King. Mahanjan, Martial Soul Phoenix, 50th Level Attack Type Battle Soul Sect. Oscar, Martial Soul Sausage, Level 50 Food Type Auxiliary Soul Sect. Ningrangrang, Martial Spirit 9 Treasure Glazed Tile Pagoda, 50 Level Auxiliary Spirit Sect. Menyaran, Martial Soul Dragon Staff, 50th Level Assault Type Battle Soul Sect. Tailong Martial Spirit Gorilla, 45 Level Storm Type Battle Spirit Sect. Jiangsu, a Martial Soul Healing Scepter, a 43 Level Auxiliary Spirit Master except for Mahanjan, who was not there. Everyone else has improved more or less. Hu Jiu, Zhao Wu, Tang San, Damu Bei, Zhu Zhu King, Oscar, and Ningrangrang were promoted by 1 level. Mengyang Iron, Tailong, and Jiangsu were each promoted by 2 levels. Among them, Tang San and Damu Bei had the most to gain the most, because they both broke through to the 60th rank, and as long as they obtained spirit rings, they would become spirit emperors. Unfortunately, it was impossible for them to obtain the 6th ring before the promotion round. After all, the age requirement for a 60 level spirit ring was a bit high, and the Sunset Forest near Shandao City could not meet the requirements at all. On the other hand, Ningrangrong, Mengyang Iron, and Oscar's 5th spirit ring could consider it. In the Sunset Forest, if they searched carefully, it would be no problem to help them obtain the 5th spirit ring. Next, everyone began to discuss, preparing to take advantage of the few days at the most to resolve the issue of Mengyan and Oscar's spirit rings. As for Ningrangrong, don't worry, she is the little princess of the 7 treasure glazed tile school, and Ning Fengxi has already arranged her spirit ring. What are you talking about? So happy. When everyone was talking vigorously, a rude voice sounded, and the huge voice shook their ears. Looking back, there is a figure standing not far away. There are Dean Flender, Vice Dean Zhao Walki, Vice Dean Liu Erlong, and a little fat man Mahanjan. Haha, teacher, Dean, you are finally back. How is it? Are things going well? Hu Jiu asked happily. It must have gone well. You can see the expression on teacher Zhao's face. Zhao Wu laughed. That's right. Zhao Walki's complacent and happy energy almost made his face rotten with laughter. Congratulations, teacher. In the future our academy will finally have Soul Douluo to back it up. This is a thigh. Hu Jiu joked. Go. I'm making fun of Laotzu. I'm your teacher. If you don't work hard, you might be overtaken by your kid at some point. Zhao Walki said angrily. Haha, this is not wrong. We Shrek will not only have the support of Soul Douluo level Soul Masters in the future, but also more than one, behind him, Liu Erlang said with a smile, while Flender, who was beside him, pretended to have his hands behind his back, looking like a master. Could it be among Shrek's people? None of them were stupid, and they all understood what Liu Erlang meant at once. Besides, there is another Flanders who is already posing next to him. Haha, you guessed it right. The teacher also broke through the 80th level on this trip, and also took the opportunity to obtain the 8th spirit ring, which is really good luck. Mahanjan said with a big smile. Congratulations, Dean. When everyone heard this, they hurriedly congratulated Flender. It seems that the extra one we got out of Cyanwood Dragon King Dan is not fortunate, so I have to give it to teacher Erlang. Tang San said softly to Hu Jiu. You. Two boys. What are you mumbling about? Liu Erlang asked curiously. Teacher, it's like this. Didn't we hunt and kill a greenwood dragon root tree in the sunset forest earlier? At that time, we got a tree core essence and didn't deal with it. It was a holiday during this time, so I refined it into a kind of tree. Well, the effect is very good. There is still one left, and I was going to give it to Dean Flender to break through the bottleneck, but I didn't expect him to have broken through, so we are discussing giving the remaining pill to. What about you? Tang San explained. What? You've made a medicinal pill? Third brother, my good third brother, you can't forget my little brother. Hearing that there was such a good thing, Mahanjan immediately ran to Tang San. In front of him, flattering non-stop. Of course I didn't forget you. You are a member of our Shrek team. Tang San smiled. Cuckold. So I've met something good. Liu Erlang showed a charming smile on his face. His mature charm almost made Tang San and others embarrassed. Chapter 328. Liu Erlang invites to fight. Originally, Hu Jiu was planning to take Oscar and Meng still to hunt for spirit rings, but now that Flender and the others have returned, he is no longer needed. When he learned that Tang San, Damu Bei, Oscar, Ning Rangrong, and Meng Yanan had all broken through the bottleneck and only needed the spirit ring, Dean Flender was overjoyed. So many people grew up together. This is not good. It indicates that he teaches well. This news made him even happier than when he had broken through level 80. Delighted, he immediately decided, together with Zhao Walqi, to personally lead the team to the Sunset Forest, to look for the soul beasts, and to get Oscar and Meng Yan's soul rings first. As for Tang San and Damu Bei, their spirit ring age requirements were higher, so they had to look for other opportunities early the next morning. Ning Rangrong was picked up by Ning Fengzi, and they went to find the spirit ring by themselves, and Flender and Zhao Walqi took Oscar and Meng Yili to Sunset Forest together. Hu Jiu, come here. In the training ground, Liu Erlang's figure appeared in front of them. Teacher Erlang, what are you doing with me? Hu Jiu was discussing the 7-in-1 fusion technique with Tang San, and when he saw Liu Erlang's fiery eyes, he immediately felt bad. Haha, Boss Fu and Leo Zhao aren't here today. I'm your teacher, Hu Jiu. I'll teach you how to fight today. Liu Erlang's eyes were full of fighting intent. Obviously, she was still fighting the last time she fought. Hu Jiu's running away is still haunted. What? Hearing this, Hu Jiu turned into a bitter face in an instant. Even if he had a fight with Zhao Wuji, he would not want to fight Liu Erlang. If you lose, you will definitely be beaten hard. If you win, this woman will definitely not be convinced, and the future will definitely be difficult. But Flender has already gone to Sunset Forest, and the only person who can survive her is no longer. The entire Shrek Academy is her biggest, and she can't escape this battle. Haha, brother ninth, you should leave our teacher Erlang. You can't run away. Mahanjan grinned. Hu Jiu cast a stern look at him. Damn fat man, I think you are swollen. Zhao Wu, give him some color, and see if he dares to squeak in the future. Okay, fatty, look at the move. Zhao Wu's eyes lit up, raised her fist, and rushed towards Mahanjan like the wind, not giving him a chance to refuse. Ah. Sister Zhao Wu, I was wrong, don't do it. Mahanjan couldn't escape at all. He was caught in Zhao Wu's scorpion braid before 2 moves, and he waved his hands in a row. Seeing Zhao Wu's movements, Liu Erlang's eyes were the same, and he instantly completed the possession of his martial soul. Fierce flames emerged from her body. With 1 foot on the ground, the violent force gathered on her fists and attacked Hu Jiu directly. Mr. Erlang, I haven't promised you yet. A hint of helplessness flashed on Hu Jiu's face, but the movements of his hands were not slow at all. It looked ordinary, as if there was no change in the slightest, but it firmly caught Liu Erlang's fist. It's not bad. I've grown a bit. Feeling that Hu Jiu had caught her fist without a sound, Liu Erlang's expression changed, but he spoke hard words. Teacher Erlang, I have grown up a lot. Don't underestimate me. Hu Jiu smiled lightly, and while speaking, he sinisterly joined the sonic attack of Beihuang killing Raw, HMPH, a little trick of carving insects. Liu Erlang snorted coldly, his fists didn't stop at all, and attacked Hu Jiu again. Liu Erlang's moves were powerful, but Hu Jiu was extremely agile. His body was like a spirit snake, especially after the phantom dodged at full level. He could dodge the attack in a fraction of a second. If he wanted, Liu Erlang would even connect his can't touch it. Zao. Jiu has become stronger again. Not far away, Tang San watched the battle between Hu Jiu and Liu Erlang. His eyes flashed, eager to try point. Although he knew that Hu Jiu was strong, he never knew how strong Hu Jiu was, but judging from the current battle situation, Liu Erlang couldn't force Hu Jiu's full strength. Boy, do you only know how to hide. After trying Hu Jiu's boxing skills, Liu Erlang knew that in terms of his skills, he seemed to be unable to help him at all. Isn't the movement technique also a kind of ability? Teacher Erlang, it took me a long time to develop this soul skill. Hu Jiu smiled lightly, not affected by her agitation at all. Damn, since that's the case, don't blame me for bullying people. Liu Erlang raised his brows. The first spirit ring under his feet instantly lit up, and his hands quickly transformed into a pair of aggressive dragon claws. The claw of the fire dragon. I'm not afraid. Hu Jiu smiled lightly, closed his eyes slightly, and concentrated his spirit instantly. The second soul skill, Dragon's Wrath. The momentum of Liu Erlang's body rose again, and the Dragon's Wrath caused the Soul Master to be in a state of rampage, with huge formidable power, and his attack power increased by 100%. Teacher Erlang, you are serious? Hu Jiu pointed his toes and stepped back quickly, avoiding Liu Erlang's violent dragon claws. At the same time, the ginseng spirit was also summoned by him. The second spirit ability lit up, and the spirit in his hand turned into Tang San's clear sky hammer. Cloak hammer technique. He dragged the clear sky hammer for a half circle in the air. His soul power was concentrated on the clear sky hammer, and his body also exuded a strong momentum. Holding the clear sky hammer in his hand, he used the chaotic cloak hammer technique to brazenly face Liu Erlang's dragon claws. Boom. A powerful roar shook the entire training ground, and a huge wave of air exploded. Shrek and the others who were watching the play involuntarily took a few steps back, avoiding the attack of the air waves. Okay, come again. Liu Erlang's eyes lit up, the red light on his hand was condensing, and the dragon claws waved out again without hesitation. Boom. The hammerhead collided with the dragon claws, and for a while, there was a fierce collision and roar in the training ground. Having changed Tang San's clear sky hammer, Hu Jiu has transformed from a food type spirit master to a strong attack type spirit master. Although it is a strong attack type without spirit skills, its attack power is not weak at all. The control and perception that has already been advanced allows him to predict the enemy's opportunities every time he fights, and the advanced chaotic cloak hammer technique allows him to have an attack ability that is not weaker than soul skills. For a while, Hu Jiu and Liu Erlang even fought for half a pound, and there was no winner or loser. In fact, Liu Erlang was also in a dilemma. When fighting Hu Jiu, many of her spirit abilities were not as powerful as they should be, because Hu Jiu had the ability to be immune to ice and fire. The only option is to confront him head on. But Hu Jiu was not a normal soul master. He had quite a few self-created soul skills. In terms of strength and defense, he had a Rotan body, and in terms of evasion, he had phantom dodging. The combination of these two soul skills allowed Hu Jiu to be able to confront her head on, or to be like a slippery loach, making it impossible for people to catch a single corner of her clothes. Very good, Hu Jiu, you succeeded in angering me. After fighting for a while, Liu Erlang's face was full of impatience. She decided to let Hu Jiu taste the power of Wuhan's real body. Chapter 329. Liu Erlang changed his body and instantly turned into a 10-meter long flaming fire dragon. Although Hu Jiu can be immune to the power of ice and fire, this is only relative. When the flame is strong to a certain extent, it is impossible for him to be completely immune. Of course, it's okay to reduce the damage to a certain extent. When Liu Erlang showed his real body of a fire dragon, Hu Jiu's eyes became solemn. Although he was also at level 70, he also had his own spirit real body. But in terms of attribute restraint, he is a little weaker. His spirit avatar is ginseng, which is a plant attribute, and is naturally afraid of fire. This is nature. Even if he has fire immunity, he can only reduce the restraint on the attribute. In terms of attack, it is really not the opponent of the real fire dragon point. After thinking about it for a while, Hu Jiu did not immediately activate his martial soul avatar, but prepared to test Liu Erlang's fire dragon avatar first to see if he could handle it. Raw, Liu Erlang, a divine dragon waving its tail, carried the natural dragon might on his body, spitting hot flames from his mouth, and charged towards Hu Jiu in an instant. What? Hu Jiu drank. His body was filled with metallic black light. His body swelled instantly. The diamond-wrought iron body was fully opened, and his body began to grow rapidly, but he couldn't breathe for a short time, and his body had grown to a height of 8 meters. Giant point missile knots all over his body. Like a titan point, the clear sky hammer in his hand seemed to sense his power, and it began to change, becoming a 4-meter long super hammer. After the change was completed, the clear sky hammer wielded by Hu Jiu met Liu Erlang's real body of the fire dragon. When did Jiu have this ability? Seeing Hu Jiu and Liu Erlang's real fire dragon collide, Tang San asked Jiu curiously. He had never seen Hu Jiu use this trick. I haven't seen it before. Maybe I just learned it recently. Actually, Jiu didn't know much about Hu Jiu's true combat power. In fact, the change in this move only appeared after the fusion of the two soul skills of the Vajra body in the wrought iron hand. Without the fusion of wrought iron hands, the Vajra body alone would not be as powerful as it is now. But Hu Jiu has a low-key temperament, and always likes to hide some trump cards on his body, but he doesn't hide it to the end to the people close to him. But he has never had the opportunity to perform for them. Liu Erlang displayed his true body as a fire dragon, and he had fully displayed his strength. But even so, she still had no choice but to win Hu Jiu. Of course, it wasn't that Hu Jiu couldn't win, but he didn't dare to win. If you want to win, a simple illusion, or find a chance, come with a petrochemical ray sneak attack, or else come with a mental shock. Liu Erlang will definitely not be able to bear it. But he didn't dare. He actually delayed it for half an hour, and he had to accompany Liu Erlang to have a good time. After Liu Erlang's fire dragon real body was turned on, the battle was over. Although it seemed that there was no winner or loser, none of the people present were fools, including Liu Erlang himself, who knew that she lost this battle. Because of this, she was very unconvinced. Do not admit defeat. Hu Jiu, wait for me. After the old lady recovers, let's fight again. Liu Erlang threw a harsh word and left neatly. Hu Jiu stood on the spot and smiled bitterly. I knew it was like this. It seems that I have to leave early. When I wait for teacher Erlang to come again next time, with his perception ability, if he really wanted to hide, Liu Erlang really couldn't find him. Wow. Ninth brother, you are too powerful. You can actually draw a Tyrannosaur with teacher Erlang. Are you still a food type soul master? Why not? Is it true that the cultivation ginseng you usually eat is fake? Hu Jiu said as a matter of course, and didn't feel anything wrong at all. After all, even if it is strength, it is due to hard training, and no one said that food type can't cultivate self-created soul skills. In other words, it is precisely because he is a food type soul master that he should cultivate his own soul skills even more. Unfortunately, no one else understands this principle. In the next few days, Hu Jiu's rare calmness, practiced spirit skills during the day, teleported to Zhu's Yuking's room without knowing it at night, and played some interesting games at night. He almost regarded Zhu's Yuking's room as his home. Of course, in his spare time, he would also discuss the 7-in-1 fusion technique with Tang San. After so many days of discussions, they already had a preliminary idea, but unfortunately Ning Rangrang went home to hunt for spirit rings, so there was no chance to test it. So progress was delayed. In a blink of an eye, a week passed, and on this day, Ning Rangrang was the first to return. How are you all? I'm back. Come back when you come back. Don't you want us to greet you? Hu Jiu laughed. HMPH, I'm such a beautiful little fairy. Don't you miss me after being gone for so long? Ning Rangrang wrinkled her small nose in dissatisfaction. What's the matter? Anyway, we haven't been together for a long time. After the Soul Master competition, it's when we graduate. At that time, everyone will go their separate ways. Speaking of this, Hu Jiu also sighed a little. He had already negotiated with Xiao Wu and Zhu Zuking. After graduation, he would go back to the Holy Spirit Village for a period of time, and then return to Heavendale City to serve as an offering to Zuking. After all, if you take someone's Sigurd's heart, you can't take it for nothing. Of course, no matter where he went, Xiao Wu and Zhu Zuking would definitely accompany him. Speaking of Zhu Zuking, Hu Jiu was even more emotional, because he actually made her give up and return to the family. And she didn't know what would happen in the future. After all, she was still Daimyo Bei's fiancée and name. Daimyo Bei had promised him that he didn't need to worry about this matter and that he would handle it perfectly. But Hu Jiu didn't quite believe it. He was not as naive as Daimyo Bei. The most important thing for people from these big families is their face. Even if Daimyo Bei became the heir of the Star Luo royal family, it would not be so easy to resolve. At the end of the day, it's just a matter of having one. It is precisely because of this that Hu Jiu decided to be a worshipper of the Heavendale Empire willingly. After all, this is also a big power. Although the strength of the Star Luo Empire was weaker, he was not afraid. With the status of being enshrined by the Heavendale Empire, even the Star Luo Empire would not dare to trouble him openly. When it comes to graduation, everyone's interest is not very good. After all, they have lived together for so many years, and their feelings for each other are not weak. The thought of everyone going their separate ways in the future, the emotional Ning Rangrang couldn't hold back the tears in his eyes. Yes, it fell down. 9th. Brother, what are you talking about? You ruined the good atmosphere, Ning Rangrang said with a weeping voice. Chapter 330, the eve of the promotion. Actually, Xiao Jiu is right. Dean Flender said that we can graduate after participating in the Soul Master competition, and we will indeed be separated at that time, but I think, even if we do, we can always rejoin at any time. Get together. Xiao Jiu, what do you think? Tang San smiled. Of course, except for Boss Day who needs to return to the Xingluo Empire. The rest of us should all be near the Heavendale Empire. Rangrang, don't cry. At least me, Xiao Wu, Zhu King, and Tang San will stay here in Heavendale City when we go to the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School as a guest. Don't be unwelcome. Hu Jiu rubbed Ning Rangrang's head and comforted. This girl, who usually looks at the wind and fire, didn't expect to be so sentimental. Of course you're welcome, then it's a deal. Ning Rangrang burst into tears, a smile as bright as a flower. Well, it's settled. Hu Jiu smiled slightly, looked up and asked, Little Fairy Rangrang, how is it? Is the hunt for the spirit ring going well this time? With Grandpa Sword and Grandpa Bone, hunting the spirit ring is of course easy. They were already looking for my next spirit ring when I was at level 40. Just wait for me to go back and absorb it directly. Now, it's easy. If I hadn't played at home for a few days, I would have been back. Ning Rangrang raised his chin contentedly. I'm already level 50 now, and the blessing effect of all spirit abilities has increased to 60%. Now I'm also a powerful auxiliary spirit master. What? A powerful soul skill effect? Tang San and the others looked at Ning Rangrang in astonishment. They were already familiar with Ning Rangrang's 9 treasure glazed tile pagoda, and they knew the effects of her spirit skills even more clearly, but when they heard it from her mouth, they couldn't help it. A moment of surprise. Ning Rangrang is now 5 ringed spirit master. Strength, speed, spirit power, defense, attack, and 5 attributes have all increased by 60%. If this is all imposed on one person, it will not be difficult to challenge. What's more, Ning Rangrang's spirit abilities could not only be applied to one person, but in team battles, her role would be brought into full play. It can be said that it is worthy of being the #1 auxiliary spirit master in the mainland, and the effect of spirit skills is really powerful. I think Rangrang is back. Little San, our experiment can continue. I believe that with Rangrang's help, our 7-in-1 fusion technique can definitely be completed. Hu Jiu smiled. 7-in-1 fusion technique? Could it be the one from Kanghu Academy? Ning Rang Grang asked in surprise. Yes, your 9 treasure glazed tile pagoda has a fusion effect, right? It's up to you whether it can be successful. Hu Jiu nodded. Point in fact, their strength is already very strong, and there is no need to do any stunts at all. It is just that Hu Jiu finds it interesting and wants to see what the 7-in-1 fusion technology is about. Point after all, the master can create it. There is no reason why they can't. Point the next day, Flender returned with Oscar and Meng still. Seeing how happy they were, it was obvious that they had gained something. Point so far, except for Tang San and Amu Bei, everyone's strength has changed a lot. Point Hu Jiu, Martial Soul Ginseng, level 73 Food System Soul Saint. Point Xiao Wu, Martial Soul Soft Bone Rabbit, 63rd level Agility Attack Type Soul Emperor. Tang San, Martial Soul Blue Silver Grass, level 60 Control System Soul King. Point Damu Bei, Martial Soul White Tiger, 60th level Storm Type Soul King. Point Zhu Zhu King, the Martial Soul Ghost Cat, the 53rd level Agility Attack Type Soul King. Point Mahanjan, Martial Soul Phoenix, the 51 Attack Type Battle Soul King. Point Oscar, Martial Soul Sausage, level 5 Food Type Auxiliary Soul King. Point Ningrangrang, Martial Spirit 9 Treasure Glazed Tile Pagoda, 51 Auxiliary Spirit King. Point Menyaran, Wuhan Dragon Staff, the 51st level Attack Type Battle Soul King. Point Taelong Martial Spirit Gorilla, 45 level Storm Type Battle Spirit Sect. Point Jiangsu, a Martial Soul Healing Scepter, a 43rd level Auxiliary Soul Sect. Point with this kind of strength, even without Hu Jiu, the highest ranked player, Shrek can completely suppress the Spirit Hall in terms of ranks. This battle has already been stabilized. Point this kind of rank suppression made Hu Jiu lose interest in participating in the competition. There was no way, the rank was too high, and it was boring to bully children. Point however, the rest of Shrek did not see it that way. The honor of being the champion of the Spirit Master competition was enough to ignite their fighting spirit. Zhao Jiu, do you want to practice with a teacher? On the last day before the promotion, Xiao Walqi felt a little itchy. Point he had heard about the battle between Hu Jiu and Liu Erlong. After he came back, he was almost overjoyed when he heard that his direct disciple had such an amazing record point, but at the same time, he was also a little disappointed. He felt that he had not fulfilled his teacher's responsibilities, except to provide Hu Jiu with soul skills, to be a tool person and a sparring partner. Okay, I'm about to find a teacher. Hu Jiu agreed. Point after so many days of practice, he had a hunch that his hidden weapon technique and phantom dodging would be able to break through with just one kick. If he could have a sparring partner, it would be faster. Haha, then we master and apprentice will have a fight today. Let me see how powerful you are now. Xiao Walqi grinned. Leo Xiao, don't be careless. If you lose to Hu Jiu, you'll be embarrassed. Flender was very jealous. Why was Hu Jiu not his disciple, but he was given to him by this silly bear? Preempted. Haha, old ghost Fu, just be jealous. If Xiao Jiu can win over my teacher, I won't be happy. How can I be embarrassed? I should be proud. Xiao Walqi laughed. Point after saying this, Xiao Wuji didn't give Hu Jiu any time to prepare. He raised his fist and rushed towards him. It's good to see the move. 4. A soul master with super defensive power like Xiao Wuji, and he is still a soul Douluo. Hu Jiu doesn't have to keep his hands anymore. His body is unpredictable, and his feet are walking strangely. It seems that there is a bit of a Tang San ghost. Shadow of shadows. Strands of light flickered between the 10 fingers, drawing a mysterious trajectory, and quickly shot at the vital position of Xiao Wuji's body, showing no mercy. Point the light that flew out was a flying knife about an inch long, which he shot out with a hidden weapon method. Point the hand knife soul skill and the hidden weapon technique produced a wonderful cooperation in Hu Jiu's hands. The flying knives seemed to be inexhaustible. As they made their way towards Xiao Walqi, haha, don't move. The body of King Ming. A golden mask erupted from Xiao Wuji's body, instantly rebounding Hu Jiu's flying knife hidden weapon. Not only that, the golden mask still maintained, protecting his body. Point the flying knives that bounced were all returned to Hu Jiu under Xiao Wuji's control. Shadow. Dodge. Hu Jiu's footsteps changed, his hands were like phantoms, and he quickly waved in front of him. In an instant, he took Zhao Walqi's rebounded flying knife with his bare hands using a hidden weapon technique. Zhao Walqi, Zhao. Jiu, with my immovable Kingming, your hidden weapon is useless. Zhao Wuji said with a smile. Teacher, that's not necessarily true. A mysterious smile hung on Hu Jiu's face, which made Zhao Wuji suddenly have a bad premonition. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 331 Void Walk. As soon as Hu Jiu's voice fell, all the flying knives that flew out seemed to be pulled by invisible threads and waved at Zhao Walqi. Point the tiny flying knives swarmed towards Zhao Wuji overwhelmingly. Point ding 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 ding. Perhaps a flying knife can't help Zhao Walqi's immovable Kingming, but under the countless flying knives, like locusts passing through the border, it devoured wildly around Zhao Walqi's immovable Kingming, causing ripples with a stab. The body of King Fu Doming, who was extremely powerful in defense, actually broke a hole under Hu Jiu's hidden weapon flying knife. My dear, the realm of this hidden weapon technique, I'm afraid even the junior can't compare to you. Vigorous Vajra Palm. Prince Fudo was broken, and Zhao Wuji was surprised for a moment, but it was Soul Douluo, so he didn't react at all. Slow. The second spirit ring under his feet lit up, the golden light in his hand condensed, and countless palm shadows appeared in front of him. Wherever the palm shadows swept, the black flying knives were emptied all at once, and they could no longer threaten him in the slightest point. The cultivation base has reached the Soul Douluo realm, and the understanding of soul skills has undergone a qualitative change. The originally simple first and second soul skills, when used in Zhao Wuji's hands, have already had a magical effect. Although Zhao Jiu's hidden weapon techniques were taught by me, he has surpassed me in terms of techniques. Even I have not reached this level. Tang San shook his head with a wry smile, but said in his heart, let alone him, even if they were in the Tang sect in their previous life, those sect elders never reached Hu Jiu's current state. Hu Jiu smiled faintly, and was very satisfied with his hidden weapon technique. Just now, under pressure, his hidden weapon technique was finally upgraded. What he didn't realize was that on the on-hook panel, the position that originally belonged to the hidden weapon technique was on the on-hook panel. At the moment, when the promotion was completed, it had turned into countless golden light spots, which merged with the control of the soul skill that had already been promoted. The hidden weapon technique and the soul controlling skill were fused together into a brand new soul skill, with subtle control. Although he hadn't seen the fusion process with his own eyes, at the moment, when the fusion was completed, countless insights about control and subtlety appeared in his mind. Let him have a different understanding of hidden weapons at this moment. Even if the flying knife has been released, he can still control it at any time, changing the direction and attack target of the flying knife. This kind of flying knife realm, I'm afraid that even Zhao flying knife is just like this. Hu Jiu secretly rejoiced. Zhao Jiu, I'm going to be serious, be careful. At this moment, Hu Jiu only felt that the gravity of the space around his body suddenly changed, and the air seemed to freeze, making his body more than 100 times heavier at this moment. The diamond body of wrought iron. Hu Jiu's muscles were tense, and the black light on his body circulated throughout his body, trying to offset the pressure brought by Zhao Walqi's increased gravity. At the same time, his body was also twisting strangely, as if he was looking for a weak point in space. With the twisting, he unknowingly broke away from Zhao Walqi's gravitational space. Good boy, you can't run away. Position tracking. Zhao Walqi laughed loudly, and when his mind moved, the fourth spirit ring under his feet leaped out, and instantly wrapped it on Hu Jiu's body. After being positioned by Zhao Walqi, no matter how he got rid of it, he could no longer escape from the gravitational enhanced space. Teacher, you can't sleep me. Hu Jiu let out a loud cry, and the figure seemed to be in a virtual state. He lifted his foot and left the place, freeing Zhao Walqi's fourth spirit ring from his body. This move made Zhao Wuji stunned. You must know that once his 4th spirit ability locates and tracks the opponent, no one can get rid of it. But I didn't expect it to fail in front of Hu Jiu. Haha, the soul skill Void Walk. Teacher, this is indeed a good soul skill. Hu Jiu's body turned into a phantom and rushed towards Xiao Wuji. 5th spirit ability, Gravity Squeeze. Xiao Wuji didn't want to see Hu Jiu so proud, and the moment Hu Jiu rushed in front of him, he used his 5th spirit ring ability point. At this moment, the space around his body began to twist and squeeze, and Xiao Wuji's body began to blur in the eyes of everyone. This is the force of Gravity Squeeze. If Xiao Wuji researches more deeply, I'm afraid that even space can be squeezed out. However, Xiao Wuji's 5th spirit ability failed again in front of Hu Jiu. Hu Jiu seemed to have no influence at all, and even ran around Xiao Wuji, completely ignoring Xiao Wuji's gravitational squeeze. This is the effect of the phantom dodge after the promotion. The soul skill after the promotion is called Void Walk, which makes him seem to enter another dimension. If he encounters an attack at this time, it will not have any effect on Hu Jiu. Of course, this soul skill is not without its flaws, because Void Walk can only evade attacks, not help him to attack. The moment he is attacked, his body will return to reality and withstand the attack. This was also the reason why he only dared to circle around Xiao Wuji instead of attacking. Hey, teacher, you can't hit me now. Hu Jiu was so happy. So what if he couldn't attack? While he couldn't attack, others couldn't attack him. According to his estimation, only the ghost Douluo and the spirit hall could crack the spirit skill of Void Walk. He felt that his Void Walk was very similar to Ghost Douluo's spirit effect. That's too powerful. Tang San and the others looked at Hu Jiu in shock. They didn't know what to say. Just relying on Hu Jiu's move can completely benefit the invincible position. Among them, no one has the confidence to crack Hu Jiu's move. For a food type soul master, it is simply a life-saving soul skill. Oscar, in particular, is extremely envious. If he can do this too, who else will threaten his safety in future battles? Food type soul masters are like this. After preparing food in advance and handing it over to the person who uses it, the rest is to protect their own safety and keep their own lives. This move is simply a soul skill tailored for food type soul masters. Stinky boy, stop beating. Stop beating. Can we count it as a tie? Xiao Wuji helplessly looked at Hu Jiu, who almost danced and twisted his butt and couldn't do anything about him. He really has no moves, and he can even ignore the gravity squeeze. I'm afraid that, even if he activates the spirit avatar, I'm afraid that Hu Jiu will not be able to do anything about it. Not to mention, his spirit avatar had already been used a few days ago, and he still hasn't recovered. Haha, Leo Xiao, shameful, even his own disciple can't do anything. What kind of teacher is he? Flender mocked. So, what if you can't do anything? Don't forget, I also taught Xiao Jiu's soul skills. Besides, it seems that you can do anything to him. You can do it. Come on, I'll give you the position. Come and fight. Xiao Wuji waved his hand, really wanting to see Flender make a fool of himself. That won't work. You two masters and apprentices are discussing each other. I'd better not bother. Haha, I still have something to do, so I'll go first. After leaving a sentence, I wanted to instruct the Shrek 9 Devils about tomorrow's promotion. Chapter 330 Turning FENGZHIN-039 S request. Xiao Jiu, have you upgraded your movement and soul skills? After the battle between Hu Jiu and Xiao Wuji was over, Tang San asked curiously. Well, I didn't expect the phantom dodging soul skill to be so strong. After it was upgraded, I named it Void Walk. After the soul skill is activated, it can allow me to hide in the shadowy space of nothingness, making it impossible for people to attack. Although it looks like we are in one dimension, in fact, I have already entered another dimension. Unless there is a special attack method, no one can attack me. Hu Jiu explained the upgraded spirit ability a little. It's actually so strong. Doesn't that mean that even a titled Douluo can't hurt you? Tang San asked in shock. Haha, how can there be such a powerful soul skill? Xiao Wuji smiled and said, title Douluo is not as simple as you think. Even the weakest title Douluo can sense the power of space. So Xiao Jiu the soul skill is useless in front of title Douluo. That's also very strong. There are not many title Douluos in the entire continent. Brother Ninth can now be called the strongest below the title Douluo. Oscar almost drooled with envy. Haha, that's understandable too. Xiao Waoqi touched his head, feeling happy for Hu Jiu. Xiao. Ayo, don't be envious of you kid. This soul skill is not that simple to cultivate. Even my talent for soul skill cultivation took several years to cultivate successfully. Don't think about it. Even if I teach you how to practice, you won't be able to practice. Hu Jiu patted Oscar's shoulder and smiled. How can I compare to Brother Ninth? I'm just envious. Oscar grimaced, sad for his talent. Well, it's good if you can understand this. With this skill, it's better to practice hard, hunt for spirit rings early, and think more about spirit ring skills. They really couldn't envy Hu Jiu's talent. After all, he only got to where he is today early the next morning. Flender, Xiao Waoqi, and Liu Erlang took the 11 Shrek people to the Royal Hunting Ground to participate in the promotion competition. The promotion is different from the qualifiers. Those who can pass the qualifiers can already be regarded as geniuses of the Empire. In order to protect their safety and privacy, spectators are not allowed to watch this battle. This time in the promotion competition, the Heaven Dao Empire and the Star Luo Empire will compete separately. 30 teams have passed the preliminaries, while the Heaven Dao Empire, the Star Luo Empire, and the Spirit Palace each have an exempt team. Just wait until the finals to participate. On the Xian Dao Empire side, a total of 15 teams were participating. Although there were fewer teams than in the qualifiers, the battle was even more intense. Because the weaker ones had already been eliminated in the qualifiers, the Royal Hunting Ground is located 50 kilometers southwest of Xian Dao City. The terrain in the hunting ground is changeable and the area is vast. It is the place where the royal family hunts and trains in normal times. Civilians are not allowed to approach here. There are 10,000 royal knights patrolling here. Anyone who dares to intrude will be killed without mercy. But today, the hunting ground has welcomed new guests, including Shrek Academy. A total of 15 epiphanies were arranged to rest in the hunting ground, waiting for the match. This time, the promotion competition is scheduled to be completed in half a month, and then rest for half a month, and the finals will be held in Wuhan Hall. Just after the accommodation was arranged, Shrek welcomed the two most expensive guests. These two are also old acquaintances, of course. This is for Hu Jiu. One of them was Ning Fengzi, the other was Zuking, the crown prince of the Heaven Dao Empire, and of course, it could be Kan Ringsu. Hello, Uncle Ning, your royal highness, you are here too. Hu Jiu greeted with a smile. Brother Hu, they said calling me Big Brother Zhu. You still don't treat me as a brother. Zuking pretended to be dissatisfied. Haha, Big Brother Zhu has wrongly blamed me. In formal occasions, the address should be more formal. I'm working under you now. Hu Jiu smiled and made an inviting gesture. It's okay, you can be my Big Brother Zhu, no matter where you are in the future. In my heart, you are not someone else. I have to say that Zuking does have a set in winning people's hearts. This time, I'm fortunate to accompany my father and emperor to visit the promotion competition. I just want to see Brother Hu's good skills. How are you? Are you satisfied with this place? If they are not satisfied, I'll ask them to change to a better place. Welcome to His Royal Highness Prince and Sect Master Ning. We are very satisfied with this residence. We don't need to be so troublesome. Inside, Flender heard the movement and greeted him. Haha, in fact, I came here this time to ask for something, and I have to trouble Dean Flender. Ning Fengzi smiled. Oh, is there anything that Sect Master Ning can't solve? If you can't solve it, I'm afraid we Shrek won't be able to help. Flender tentatively asked. Haha, this matter really needs the help of Shrek Academy in Flanders. I'll tell the truth. I found that your Shrek Academy's teaching ability is stronger than our 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School, and it has taught so many outstanding disciples. So I want to send some disciples to enroll in your academy, but I don't know it's inconvenient for Dean Flender. Ning Fengzi smiled. This, of course Flender is willing to do this. If all the disciples of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School are studying in his academy, it would be a great honor, but in fact, only he himself knows that the reason why Tang San and the others are cultivating so fast is entirely due to Hu Jiu alone relation. Dean, what are you holding back? Uncle Ning is a rich man. Could he be able to reduce your tuition fees? It's rare that Uncle Ning values it. That's a good thing. Hu Jiu gave Flender a message. With a wink, he knew that Shrek was the lifeblood of Flender. If he could manage Shrek Academy, he would be able to rest his eyes, even if he died. As for helping the disciples of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School to cultivate, it was absolutely nothing to him. Don't forget, he is now food type soul sage. One person can supply food for a legion. When the time comes, he can get some fake and inferior products. If he doesn't need much, he will increase the training speed by 1%, which will definitely make Ning Feng's woo words can be said. What kind of ginseng soup, stir-fried ginseng and other cuisines, to ensure that students eat full of oil. Flender has also helped him a lot. Now that he has the ability, it is no problem to help him a little. Well, then, as long as Sect Master Ning is not afraid that I will teach your disciples to be misunderstood, it will be fine. After hesitating for a while, Flender readily agreed. Since Hu Jiu has spoken, he has nothing to worry about. Haha, then I will trouble Dean Flender. Don't worry, as Hu Jiu said, the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School is not bad for money, and the Dean will have to worry about it in the future. For a while, everyone chatted happily. Chapter 333 Reminder of Zuking. Brother Hu, in fact, apart from the teacher's affairs this time, I also have a few things to do. Do you have time to go out with me? Seeing Ning Fengzi and Flender chatting happily, Zuking looked at him with a smile. With Hu Jiu, oh, let's talk slowly. I'll go out with Big Brother Zu for a while. Hu Jiu was stunned, then looked at everyone apologetically, stood up, and left the room with Zuking. I don't know what Brother Zu has to do with me. I can't participate in this promotion match this time. Although the round robin system is still adopted for the promotion competition, it does not pay attention to the cooperation of the team, but focuses on the individual strength of the team. When fighting, each team still dispatched 7 players, but in a one-on-one game, and when the team wins and stands at the end, it is the winner. But according to the rules, food type and support type Soul Masters were not allowed to participate in the competition. That is to say, in this promotion competition, Hu Jiu, Ning Rangrong, Oscar, and Jiangsu were not allowed to participate. Only Zhao Wu, Tang San, Zhu Zuking, Damu Bei, Mahangjin, Meng Yang Iron, and Taelan were able to appear. Apart from the 4 auxiliary spirit masters, the team could just form a team. This was also one of the reasons why Flender wanted to let Taelong and Jiangsu join Shrek's team as substitutes, otherwise they couldn't even get the team together, and it would be a joke at that time. Of course, with their strength, it doesn't really matter if they have a substitute or not. If all of their strengths burst out, I'm afraid even Mahangjin can run through the audience alone and come to a 1v7. It's not about the competition. Zuking shook his head with a serious expression. I got top secret news that the Platinum Bishop Salus of the Spirit Hall is investigating you in private. I estimate that he may be detrimental to your Shrek. Be careful recently. Oh, how is this possible? We don't seem to provoke Bishop Salus. He is so careful. Hu Jiu was a little stunned. He didn't expect that Zuking would actually tell him the news. Others don't know Zuking's identity. Can he still not know? Could it be that Zuking already regarded him as his own? If so, then nothing is impossible. To tell you the truth, the conflict between the Heaven Dao Empire and the Spirit Hall has not been around for a day or two. I know Salus very well. He is a diehard loyalist of His Majesty the Pope, and Shrek Academy belongs to Heaven Dao Empire, and you just happen to be the youngest worshipper of our Cheyenne Dao Imperial family. It is impossible for you to be recruited by Spirit Hall. 4. Wuhan Temple. If the outstanding talents are not their own, it is better to eliminate them in advance, so as not to grow up in the future and bring harm to Wuhan Temple. Zhu King looked at Hu Jiu seriously. To become a soul saint at the age of less than 15 is amazing. let alone a rare food type. This kind of talent, let alone the spirit hall, almost killed him. Thinking of his innate 20th level soul power, when he was 14 years old, he did not reach the level of Hu Jiu now. In his heart, Hu Jiu is a peerless Avaldo. Fortunately, Hu Jiu agreed to become a royal enshrined, and it belonged to his name, which made him reluctant to destroy talents like Hu Jiu. Otherwise, it might be another ending. So, that's the way it is. Thank you Brother Zhu for clarifying the confusion. I will pay attention to safety during this time. Hu Jiu cupped his hands and thanked him with a smile. No need to thank you. Speaking of which, this matter has something to do with our royal family. If you didn't become a worshipper, maybe Solis would extend an olive branch to you. Zuking waved his hand and joked, haha, I can't attract anyone. Hu Jiu smiled lightly, but Zuking felt a happy mood in his heart. Not everyone can recruit, but now she has been recruited by him. Isn't this complimenting her, that she is not an ordinary person in disguise? By the way, does Brother Zhu know the strength of Salus? After all, in this world, strength is still the most respected. As long as the strength is strong enough, any conspiracy and tricks are useless. Brother Hu, don't mess around. I know you have some strength, but after all, you're just a food type soul master, and you're still a little short in terms of combat effectiveness. Of course, I don't mean to look down on you. In my opinion, precisely because you are a food type soul master, your role is even greater. Zuking looked at Hu Jiu seriously, for fear that he would do impulsive things when he was young and arrogant. Brother Zhu, don't worry, I didn't think about messing around. I just wanted to know his information in advance. After all, the unknown is the most terrifying. Hu Jiu comforted. That's but, in fact, Bishop Salus is still very powerful. It is said that he is an 89th level storm type soul saint, and his martial soul is a blood-sucking vine, and his strength is very powerful. Otherwise, he would not be able to become the fourth under the Pope. One of the great platinum bishops, vampire, vine martial soul. No wonder his soul power has an evil aura. Hearing Zuking's explanation, Hu Jiu understood. With his perception ability, Salus's spirit power level was clearly perceived by him for a long time, but he just didn't know what his martial spirit was. However, Salus's idea of hitting him is not so simple. In terms of life saving, his talents are full. Don't talk about soul Douluo. Even title Douluo can't do anything about him. Teleporting soul skills are no joke. After Zuking left, Hu Jiu also returned to his room. After going back, he didn't tell his friends about this, lest they worry. He only quietly told Tang San about this. After all, Tang Heo is a big golden thigh. No matter what Salus' plan is, as long as Tang Heo appears, all problems will not be a problem. Tang Heo didn't gain anything during the time he was recuperating with the 2 eyes of ice and fire. Every now and then, Tang San would use his Zuanshan Gong to warm and nourish his meridians. As long as Tang Heo could still make a move, it would be like a nuclear weapon, and no one would dare to ignore it. Salus will be bad for us. Tang San heard the news with a shocked look on his face. Why is this happening? Is it because of the Kanghu Academy that we have lost his face? Of course that's not the main reason. Hu Jiu smiled indifferently. The main reason is that Shrek is too talented. Of course, such a domineering force as the Spirit Hall cannot tolerate us. Damn. Tang San patted the table with an angry look on his face. Although neither Hu Jiu nor Tang Heo told him how Yan died, Tang San's smart mind had long expected it, and now that Wu Hundian started targeting them, his heart was full of anger. I can't hold it anymore, so it's still strength. If we become titled Douluo, how dare the Spirit Hall dare to count us? Hu Jiu raised his head and said, in Douluo continent, strength is still the most respected. Chapter 334 Xiao Wu goes to battle. Will Salus deal with us when we enter the promotion round? Tang San looked at Hu Jiu, his eyes solemn. The strength of the platinum bishop Salus, Hu Jiu has explained to him just now, the 89th level soul Douluo. Maybe he will break through to become a titled Douluo at some point. Such a powerful strength. If he personally assassinates, he didn't have the confidence to protect himself. Don't worry, the Heaven Dao Empire is not a vegetarian. Salus doesn't dare to deal with us. On the bright side, At least you won't attack us while we are participating in the promotion competition. Hu Jiu comforted. Besides, don't forget who your father is. If there is a problem, I can immediately teleport to the Bingho Liangai to inform him, no matter how strong Salus is, and whether your father can be strong. Being defensive is a must. Let's be careful during this time. Tang San's ears moved, feeling someone approaching, so he hurriedly ended the conversation. Jiu. Zio-san, what are you talking about? I've been looking for you for a long time. Xiao Wu's voice came from not far away. Just chat with Xiao casually. What's wrong? Hu Jiu asked. Dean Flender notified us to participate in the competition. Xiao Wu jumped up and down, obviously very interested in the promotion competition of the waiting party point fighting or something. She likes it the most. The place where the promotion match was played was renovated from the big school field in the Royal Hunting Ground. In the center of the big school field, there was a 100-meter square circle. This was the competition arena point on the north side of the campus. There is a temporary VIP seat point by the time Hu Jiu and the others arrived. The VIP seats were already full of people, with Emperor Zuyi, Ning Fengzi, Platinum Leader Salus, and others in the first row. In the back row of VIP seats were some generals from the Heaven Dao Empire Royal Knights, as well as some high-level executives from the Heaven Dao City Spirit Hall. Soon as the colleges participating in the promotion competition came one after another, the entire university field became lively. Especially the people from the 4-Element Academy. They had already seen the strength of Shrek Academy in the qualifiers. Among them, Feng Zai Ocean of Kamikaze Academy looked at them with a face full of fighting intent, probably still fantasizing about defeating Tang San and gaining Huo Wu's heart. The Blazing Academy didn't give them a good look, especially Huo Wu, who lost to Tang San, the Huo free hanging force, and was very unconvinced. However, the members of Shianshu College, especially the Captain Shubinger, set her eyes on Hu Jiu. After all, Hu Jiu saved her life in the qualifiers, not to mention that Hu Jiu's appearance is higher than that of Tang San, so she will naturally be more favorable. On the other hand, the captain of the Thunder Academy had been looking at them with scrutiny, not knowing what was on his mind. Soon, the promotion round began. Today's opponent of Shrek is a high-level Soul Master Academy in the Kingdom of Barak, and this is the third match today. Little Sun, I'll be the first to appear. It's been a long time since I hit anyone, so let me hit first. Xiao Wu said eagerly. No problem, but remember to hide your strength. You can only fight with the strength of the Soul Sect. Tang San nodded and instructed. Hey, no problem. The Soul Sect's strength can also take care of them. Xiao Wu raised her fist confidently. Since that's the case, then our appearance order today is Xiao Wu, Fatty, and Tai Long. Tang San pondered and said, let's play 3 people. Didn't we say we were going to play 7? Oscar asked suspiciously. Just 3 is enough. If Fatty can last for a day, maybe 2 will be enough. Fatty, you have to hide your strength. Don't use the 5th spirit ring. Tang San laughed. No problem. I've lasted the longest. Mahanjan patted his stomach and said confidently. Haha. Damubei looked at Mahanjan with contempt, and the meaning in his eyes was self-evident. Sexy tiger, what are you looking at? Am I right? Fatty became a little annoyed. This is about the dignity of a man, and he will not give in at this time. Haha. Try it after the promotion competition is over, and see who is the strongest. Damubei provocatively said. I said that you are enough. With your little strength, I'm too embarrassed to talk about you. Shut up. It's up to us soon. Hu Jiu raised his head high. Is he strong enough? Look at them pour. The ginseng with the transformation effect will not be given to them. Emperor Zuyi announced through the soul tool. The promotion competition has officially started. I hope you will show your strength and show the style of the people of the Xiandao Empire. If there is an academy that is qualified for the finals, this emperor will give you another award. Long live, as Soon as Zhuyi's encouragement came out, the field suddenly boiled, and the shouting sound was like a tsunami, especially the royal knights in the first major field, which even raised the knight spear in their hands, and screamed hard point. The first qualifying match is Blazing Academy vs Fabia Academy. Point needless to say, there was Huo Washan and Huo Wu in Shihuo Academy, and they only fought against their opponents, and won the victory point after Huo Wu defeated the last opponent. She raised her head arrogantly, stretched out her hand, and pointed at Tang San's position. The provocation was self-evident. Little San, it seems that you are quite popular with girls. This girl is called Huo Wu. I think her figure is quite good. Do you want to think about it? Hu Jiu looked at Tang San jokingly. Tang San rolled his eyes at Hu Jiu helplessly. It wasn't that he wasn't interested in women. He just hadn't met a man who made his heart move, let alone a girl as hot as Huo Wu. In the second game, the Alien Beast Academy played against another academy they did not know. The two academies were of equal strength. In the end, the two sides fought until only the last player was left. It's my turn to play. Everyone wait for my good news. Zhao Wu clenched her fists and ran to the ring. Their opponent was the Berek Royal Academy, which was similar to the Xiandao Imperial Academy in the Xiandao Empire. When Zhao Wu walked towards the ring, Berek Academy also sent their opponents. The Berek Academy was played by a tall young man who looked to be in his 20s, wearing a black school uniform with gold trim, which looked very luxurious. Little sister, your Shrek Academy will not be empty, right? You actually sent a little girl to the stage. I think you should not compare, lest you get hurt later. Looking at Zhao Wu's cute appearance, the young man said sincerely. How can such a cute girl be able to compete on stage? HMPH, stop talking nonsense, and fight if you want to. Zhao Wu was too lazy to talk nonsense with him. Her aura increased, her spirit possessed, and the 4 spirit rings under her feet slowly rhythmically moved. Huang and Erzi, the 4 best spirit ring configurations, shone on Zhao Wu's face, but made her even more lovely and charming. Chapter 335 1 Pick 7. Hey, it's actually a 4-ringed spirit master, and his strength is not bad. The young man opposite Zhao Wu was stunned, and instantly began to pay attention to Zhao Wu's strength. Originally, Zhao Wu was cute and lovable, and her strength should not be too strong, but she didn't expect that she was actually a soul sect. HMPH, giggling, you know nonsense, or not a man. Look at the trick. Seeing that the young man was still talking nonsense, Zhao Wu became impatient. She stretched out her right hand and a blade of light appeared in her hand. The light condensed by the hand sword soul skill in his hand, slashed at the young man mercilessly. The young man was frightened by Zhao Wu's speed. He didn't expect that, since Zhao Wu said he would do it without saying hello at all, and he was stunned. The chest is even hotter, and you don't need to look to know that you have been injured. But it wasn't over yet. The moment he flew out, Zhao Wu showed a devilish smile on the corner of her mouth. Her body moved with the wind, and she even followed the young man's figure flying out to chase after him. While running fast, the scorpion braid on Zhao Wu's head was like a snake, and it actually wrapped around the young man's body 1 step ahead. The familiar scene made everyone watching Shrek almost cover their eyes and couldn't bear to look directly. It's so miserable. Sister Zhao Wu's 8 and fall is so powerful, her opponent is so pitiful. Mahanjan muttered to himself, covering his eyes. Sure enough, as soon as Mahanjan finished speaking, Zhao Wu's feet on the field had already jumped up. Her body flipped in midair again. Her feet took the opportunity to bring a rabbit and an eagle to the young man, and caught the ingeniousness of the scorpion's braid. All of a sudden beat the youth to the ground. With a loud bang, the young man only felt powerless. His head was staring at the stars, and he didn't even know what he was doing. You lost. Zhao Wu stepped on the young man's back, preventing him from getting up from the ground. This battle was almost unresponsive. From the start of the game, Zhao Wu won by an overwhelming advantage in just a few breaths. This is not surprising, although Zhao Wu hid her strength and did not use more power than the Soul Sect. But don't forget, Zhao Wu is an agility attack spirit master with her speed at the same level. ZHU's Yuking might be on par with her. However, Zhao Wu is taking a dexterous path, while ZHU's Yuking is relatively light. From a visual point of view, ZHU Zuking may be faster. But in fact, ZHU Zuking might not be able to match Xiao Wu in speed. Next, before the referee announced the result of the match, Xiao Wu could not wait to announce it for him. 3 simple words to provoke the rest of the Berek Academy. Xiao Wu just finished speaking and immediately rushed out 7 or 8 people to come over to her. What are you doing? Even though the referee appeared, he blocked Xiao Wu. Get down. This is the Spirit Master competition, not your training ground. Hu Jiu said lightly, but his body did not move. But the invisible murderer Sora made Berek Academy's body instantly freeze, and he no longer dared to take a step forward, looking for death. Before everyone could recover from Hu Jiu's murderer Sora, another cold voice with anger rang out again. It turned out that another figure was already standing on the ring. As soon as she appeared, a domineering and unparalleled aura was as majestic as an ocean wave, and wave after wave pressed in the direction of Berek College. Even other nearby colleges have suffered from fish ponds. This person is officially Shrek Vice President Liu Erlang. Her temper is not good at all, otherwise she would not be called the killing foot of the Golden Iron Triangle. Her murderer Sora was much stronger than that of Hu Jiu. Standing there tightly, not only did the people from Berek Academy startle, but even Ning Fengxi and Salas in the VIP seats were startled. They also did not expect that Liu Erlang's temperament would be so hot. Don't forget, Xiao Wu is her goddaughter, and she usually treats Xiao Wu as her own daughter. Now that my daughter has been bullied, that's okay, and now I only come to the ring to stand up for her. This is a game. What do you want to do? Salas's gloomy voice sounded, and he didn't know if it was because he was startled by Liu Erlang just now, and he couldn't save face. At this time, the leading teacher of the Kingdom of Berek hurried to the ring and looked at Salas with a respectful face. Bishop Platinum, please calm down. My students just want to take back their teammates, not other ideas. Hey, please remember your identities. Only the contestants are allowed in the arena, and the rest of the unrelated personnel are not allowed to enter, otherwise they will be disqualified. Salas said coldly. Compared to Berek Academy, he wanted to trouble Shrek more, but he never had the chance. After such an incident, the gunpowder smell of Berek Academy and Shrek Academy became stronger and stronger. Only the second game has been carried out to the extent of fiery. In the ring, Xiao Wu did not step down, and she was still the next match. Judging from Xiao Wu's appearance, it's hard to say that today is her personal stage. And there is no need for Mahanjan and Taelang to appear at this time. Berek Academy sent a second student. This student's level was not weak. He was also a 40 level soul sect, and his martial spirit was very strange. It turned out to be a beautiful flower on the surface. It was impossible to tell what type of soul master he was. Sunflower. Tang San was well informed and immediately called out the name of this person's martial spirit. Tang San knew something about sunflowers. Wild sunflowers could release a peculiar smell, making people feel weak and mentally atrophied. Obviously, this person should be a control system soul master. Suddenly, Tang San seemed to have thought of something. A mysterious smile appeared on his face and instantly stopped worrying about Xiao Wu. Yes. Xiao Wu is taking acacia heartbroken red. This is the king of flowers. How could it be possible for poison to hurt her? You have to pay the price for what Wendy Lee did just now. Sunflower Spirit Owner looked at Xiao Wu indifferently, as if the clothes were determined to win. Haha, then it depends on whether you have the ability. Xiao Wu put her hands behind her back, shaking her head from side to side, and almost made a face at him. The game begins. The referee's voice rang out. The moment the referee's voice fell, the Berek student on the opposite side took action, and saw the first spirit ring under his feet instantly lit up, and the sunflower in front of him rose in the wind, and it grew to a diameter of more than 1 meter without breathing. The rod is about 3 meters in diameter, and it is like a strange weapon in the hand. He stretched out his hand and waved, and a thick yellow mist fell from the sunflowers. The mist contained a strong fragrance of flowers. Just a slight smell of that fragrance made Xiao Wu feel dizzy. Chapter 336. Poisonous. Xiao Wu reacted instantly, holding her breath immediately. Her spirit power spread all over her body, and she had to deal with her opponent before preparing for a hard anti-toxin point. But when she was about to rush in front of her opponent, Xiao Wu suddenly gave a startled sound and stopped. She found that, although the toxin of the Sunflower Spirit Master made her dizzy for a moment at the beginning, her body seemed to have a purifier. This miraculous scene made her stunned. Haha, don't struggle anymore. My poison is not something that can be blocked by soul power. Just surrender and surrender. Maybe I'll take it lightly later. The Sunflower Spirit Master on the opposite side looked like he was determined by Xiao Wu, as if he had a lot of trust in his spirit ring skills. Do you feel dizzy and weak? Haha, that's right. Struggle. The more you struggle, the happier I will be. The Spirit Master chattered to Xiao Wu, talking nonsense. He is not doing useless work. This is his plan. He is waiting for the little dance toxin to strike. Xiao Wu looked at the Soul Master expressionlessly. Although she didn't know why she was not poisoned, she knew that it was time for her to perform the third spirit ring. Instant speed. The instant the spirit ring skill was activated, Xiao Wu's body flashed past and instantly appeared in front of the opposite spirit master. He kicked him away with one kick, then quickly chased after him and continued to use the chain foot. Bang 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 bang. For a time, the Soul Master was like a puppet, being kicked by Xiao Wu in midair, screaming again and again. Hey, with the last blow, Xiao Wu grabbed the Spirit Master's collar with both hands, bent her body into a bow shape, and activated her waist bow, smashing him to the ground with all her might. Boom. The huge tremor made many of the academies who were watching the game close their eyes in fright. Such a cute girl is so violent. The huge contrast makes people feel a strong violation. I won again. Next, still a familiar movement. Xiao Wu stepped on her opponent's back and looked up at Berek Academy with no intention of stepping down. Haha, fatty, it shouldn't be your turn to play today. You see, Xiao Wu is already in the mood to fight. Maybe she will show off today. Ning Rang excitedly looked at the people on the stage. Xiao Wu, as if the one standing on the stage was not Xiao Wu, but her new third brother. You are too partial. Why didn't you let me play first? Mahanjan complained pitifully. Tang San, can this be my fault? With Xiao Jiu covering her, who would dare to object? If you are not afraid of wearing small shoes, you can try it. Speaking of which, Hu Jiu had already doted on Xiao Wu to a certain extent. Normally, as long as Xiao Wu wanted to do, he would find a way to satisfy it. Although he is the captain of Shrek team, he can't beat Hu Jiu. In their team, Hu Jiu has the greatest voice. What's more, the relationship between him and Hu Jiu is not like a brother is better than a brother. If Xiao Wu wants to play, then let her play. Fatty, your hands are itchy. It doesn't matter if you don't have a chance to play later. Let's go back and practice on our own. I'll accompany you. Hu Jiu smiled and looked at Mahanjan. The smile in his eyes made him tremble. No need. My stomach hurts a little today. It's great not to participate. Thank you, Sister Xiao Wu. Mahanjan said witty. While they were chatting, the Berek Academy was in a predicament. The two spirit masters above the 40th rank they dispatched just now were already the strongest in the academy. One is the captain and the other is the vice captain. The rest of the academies were all below level 40. Originally, they were going to use the wheel battle tactics to deal with Xiao Wu, but Xiao Wu didn't consume any soul power at all. Continuing, the leading teacher of Berek College actually conceded defeat on behalf of the college. Haha, Xiao Jiu, I'm amazing. They were beaten by me, and they conceded defeat. As soon as she stepped down from the stage, Xiao Wu jumped up and ran to Hu Jiu to ask for credit. Although she didn't complete the feat of wearing one piercing 7, her opponent had already conceded defeat. It could be said that she defeated an academy by herself. Amazing. Awesome. My family's Xiao is the best. Hu Jiu stretched out his hand and pinched Xiao Kang's nose in a funny way, his eyes full of doting. Xiao Wu, didn't you get poisoned just now? Tang San asked with a smile. Hey, if you didn't ask me, I almost forgot. Xiao Jiu, give me a piece of ginseng. I want to detoxify. Xiao Wu was stunned for a moment, and then she remembered that she seemed to have been poisoned. Actually, you don't need to eat it. Although he said so, Hu Jiu still made a holy light to restore ginseng on the spot. Xiao Jiu is right. Xiao Wu is actually not poisoned. Don't forget, you've eaten acacia heartbroken red. It's the king of flowers. The poison has no effect on you. Tang San also explained with a smile. Wouldn't it be possible for Xiao Wu to be free from poison in the future? Zhu Zuking looked at Xiao Wu in surprise. Formerly type spirit masters like them, the most feared thing was poison. Poison immunity, of course, is enviable. You can say the same. Tang San answered in the affirmative. There are 5 games in total today. After the next 2 games were completed, Emperor Zhu Yi happily announced that today's game was over, and the rest would continue tomorrow, and rewarded 1,000 gold soul coins on the spot to the winning academy today. And not only did the winning academies get rewards, but even the losing academies also gave 500 gold soul coins as a consolation reward. Back at Shrek's temporary residence, Hu Jiu rarely did any training, but lay on the bed and observed his on-hook panel. Self-created soul skills after promotion, meditation, subtle control, perception, poison escape, helix bill, chaotic cloak hammer, diamond wrought iron body, and void walk. Self-created soul skills that have not been promoted, distraction control level 9, nether soul requiring level 8. Hand knife level 8, white tiger sound killing raw level 6, shockwave level 6, dominant body level 2. After the hidden weapon technique and the phantom dodging promotion, 2 hanging positions were vacated. One of the 2 hanging positions was occupied by the petrified right hand spirit bone, and the other was occupied by the domineering body spirit ability. The soul skill of tyrant body is the same as the Vajra forged iron body. It is a body forging soul skill, but the soul skill of tyrant body was given to him by Tang Heo. Needless to say, the effect is obvious. After just hanging up for a few days, he felt his own physical fitness began to accelerate again. Perhaps because of the wrought iron body of the King Kong, the upgrade speed of the hegemony body is very fast. It seems that the 2 soul skills have already produced a linkage effect. Hu Jiu estimated that when the hegemonic body reached its full level, it would merge with the wrought iron body to form a brand new soul skill. However, Hu Jiu was not in a hurry because he had no soul skills or soul bones that needed to hang up. And the new hang up slot is almost unsealed, and it won't be long before he can add another hang up slot. Chapter 337 Tang San injured. The 9th level distraction control and the 8th level nether soul bill have nothing to cultivate, just hang up step by step, but the soul skill of the hand knife gave Hu Jiu an idea. The 2 soul skills, the hand knife and the hidden weapon technique, are a perfect match. Now that the hidden weapon technique has been integrated with the control, it has become a subtle soul skill. If the hand knife is also improved, his attack methods will be even more. There are roughly 2 ways to use the hand knife. One is to use it as a weapon, which is very practical, especially when it is not allowed to bring your own weapon in the Spirit Master competition. Like Xiao Wu, she is used to using it as a weapon. The other is to use it as a hidden weapon. This is Hu Jiu's favorite way of using it. The knife is compressed and condensed into a small knife about an inch long. Using the hidden weapon method, it is unexpected and very suitable for sneak attacks. However, compressing to an inch long is already Hu Jiu's limit, and it is very difficult to reduce it. This is Hu Jiu's next cultivation direction. The next morning, after breakfast. What? You don't watch our game anymore? Tang San looked at Hu Jiu in surprise, not understanding why. What's strange about this? Food type soul masters can't participate in the promotion competition. If you have time to watch you participate in the battle, it's better to cultivate yourself, and with your strength, the result is doomed. What's so good? Don't you have the confidence to win the battle? Victory? Hu Jiu asked rhetorically. Of course I'm confident. Well, you're right. Since that's the case, then we'll go to the competition first, and we'll tell you the result later. Tang San was right, even though they all knew that Hu Jiu was not normal food type soul master, but the key is that others don't know. Therefore, as long as they are food type soul masters, they are not allowed to participate. Brother Ninth wants to stay, then I won't go. Just let me accompany Brother Ninth. Ning Rong Grong rolled his eyes and said with a smile, not knowing what he was up to, okay, then Rong Grong should take good care of Xiao Jiu so that he won't be lazy at home. Xiao Wu gave Ning Rong Grong a deep look and said with a smile, no problem, I will be optimistic about brother ninth. Ning Rong Grong's eyes flickered for a moment, but she answered cheerfully, then, Jiang Zhu next to her hesitated for a while and wanted to stay. She didn't want to waste time watching the game. Sister, Jiang Zhu, come with us. With you here, we can quickly recover our strength. Mahanjan interrupted Jiang Zhu's words with a smile point among them. Although Jiang Zhu is not the most beautiful, she is the most mature. With the charm of mature beauty, Mahanjan is a bit inextricable. Okay. Then after thinking about it, Jiang Zhu didn't refuse. She was not Hu Jiu and the others. She could arrange her own time at will. Today was Shrek's second battle, and the opponent was decided by drawing lots, and their opponent was Blazing Academy. They were old acquaintances, especially Huo Wu, who wanted to fight Tang San again. Tell me, little witch, what the hell are you doing? Hu Jiu looked at Ning Rong Grong in front of him helplessly, while Ning Rong Grong was looking at him with a smile. His eyes kept rolling, but he didn't think of anything good. What? Little witch, it's so ugly. Ninth brother, I'm so sad. People are kind enough to stay and accompany you to practice. If you don't thank me, forget me, and still doubt me. Woo woo. Ning Rong Grong pouted unhappily, tilting her head and not looking at Hu Jiu. Okay, it's my fault. Hu Jiu looked at Ning Rong Grong helplessly, and he knew that if this girl stayed by his side, there was nothing good. No, you have to accompany me. Ning Rong Grong said dissatisfied. Accompany? Tell me, how do you want me to accompany you? Hu Jiu asked. Well, then go shopping with me. Isn't ninth brother able to teleport with people? Let's go back to Skydao City. It's been a long time since I went shopping. Ning Rong Grong's face showed a beam of joy, and the whole person it brightened up in an instant. That's not good. I can't go shopping with other girls with Xiao Wu and Yuking on my back. Hu Jiu shook his head and refused without thinking. Besides, I'm really planning to stay here to cultivate. If not cultivation, I might as well go to the game. Hearing the word shopping, Hu Jiu immediately became alert. He could agree to other things, but not shopping. He was really not interested. HMPH. If you don't go, you won't go. Stinky Hu Jiu. I'll ignore you. Ning Rong Grong stomped her feet in anger to accompany her little fairy to go shopping. This kind of good deeds can't be asked for by others. As if Hu Jiu didn't see Ning Rong Grong getting angry, he turned around and started to practice his soul skills anyway. He also knew that Ning Rong Grong was only angry for a short while, like a child. It would be fine after a while. Seeing that Hu Jiu ignored her, Ning Rong Grong angrily began to meditate. She also wanted to practice. Ninth brother. Third brother is injured. While Hu Jiu and Ning Rong Grong were cultivating separately, Zhu's Yuking ran over like a gust of wind. What's the matter? Where is he? Hu Jiu stopped his movements and asked with a frown. Tang San was now a rank 60 spirit king. As long as he got a spirit ring, he would become a spirit emperor. No one should be able to hurt him in a child's game like a promotion match. Liu Bei is coming here with him on his back. I'll let you know first. Zhu's Yuking replied. Okay. Then go to his room first. Hu Jiudang went to their dormitory first. After waiting in the dormitory for a while, Liu Bei came back with Tang San dripping with blood. Hu Jiu glanced at it, and he found that the clothes on Tang San's back were completely torn, and his body was even more bloody, and even bones could be seen in some places. But he found that this didn't seem like a big deal to Tang San. His martial soul blue silver emperor was originally the roost with its huge vitality, not to mention that he still has a 100,000-year-old right leg bone on his body. Xiaohu, some granulation has begun to grow on the injured back. What's the matter? So embarrassed, Hu Jiu stretched out his hand and wiped it out. A dense mass of holy light appeared in his hand, and he casually pressed Tang San's back. In an instant, Tang San's wounds began to grow visibly, much faster than he recovered alone. I'm So careless. I didn't expect that Hu would actually be able to fuse the ring, and he could fuse all of his spirit abilities into one, and release them instantly. That power is actually comparable to that of the Spirit Emperor. Tang San said embarrassedly. Really careless. Not only him, in fact everyone in Shrek was careless, because of their level. They took it for granted that there would be no opponent who could hurt them in the promotion round. This point, even the calm Tang San would no exception. As a result, Hu taught him a profound lesson. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 338. Hu spotted Tang San. While Tang San was still introspecting, Damu Bei's cold voice came from outside the door. What are you doing here? We came to see Tang San. Thank him for saving Hu. Hu Washang's voice came from outside the door. In fact, at Tang San's level, even if Hu used the fusion talent to combine the 4 spirit abilities, even if he couldn't catch it, he could dodge in advance. But he could dodge. But Hu couldn't. Hu had a strong temperament. She wanted to defeat Tang San wholeheartedly, but as a result, she developed a killer move that she couldn't fully control, and at the last moment, she actually wanted to die with Tang San. In the end, Tang San was helpless. He didn't want Hu to commit suicide because of his own reasons, so he resisted Hu's low blow. Now that the battle was over, of course they had to thank Tang San. Hu Jiu's perception ability was swept away, and found that not only Hu Washang was coming, but also several other members of the academy, and even the pale Hu. After thinking about it, Hu Jiu greeted Oscar, Zhu Zuking and the others, leaving Tang San alone. Little San is injured and needs to rest. If you just want to apologize, forget it. Let's go. Hu Jiu looked at Hu Washang and the others lightly, and his eyes stopped for a while on the pale Hu. We really came to see Tang San. We'll leave after we're done. Hu Washang said to Hu Jiu impatiently. Hu Washang didn't have a deep impression on Hu Jiu. He only knew that he was a member of Shrek, and he didn't take him to heart at all. You don't need your cats to cry and mice to pretend to be compassionate. Tang San can't die. Damu Bei said coldly. Damu Bei, don't go too far. We're here to see Tang San, not to see you. You get out of the way. Hu Washang frowned, and his tone became cold. If it wasn't for Hu's insistence on coming over, he wouldn't have come over to get angry. Roll. Hu Jiu snorted coldly, causing Hu Washang and the others to feel cold all over, and a huge fear filled their hearts. I'll give you a face, right, boss day? Give them a good look and let them know what it means to be polite. Hearing Hu Jiu's words, Damu Bei immediately reacted. The aura on his body was no longer concealed. The surging spirit power was overwhelming, like Hu Washang and the others. Hu Washang, who took the lead in the first place, groaned. An incredible look flashed across his face. How is it possible? How can you be so strong? Standing in front of Damu Bei, Hu Washang felt like facing his teacher at this moment. Hu, who had been staying at the back, pushed aside the others and came to the front with a calm expression, no longer interested in being stubborn. I just want to see if Tang San's injury is serious. Can you let me see it? See him. If it's you alone, it's not impossible, Hu Jiu said while rubbing his chin. Then, Hu. Woo, don't go. Didn't you see it? They're just teasing you. Hu Washang said with fiery eyes and gritted teeth. If you don't go, get out. What are you doing here? Looking for scolding? Behind him, Mahanjan said angrily. Since you don't want to, then after Tang San's injury is healed, I'll come to the door to thank myself. Hu grabbed the indignant Hu Washang and said calmly. In fact, she regretted agreeing to let Hu Washang follow. If she came alone, I'm afraid there would not be so many things. Because of Tang San's injury, he didn't participate in the next few games, but even though Tang San didn't appear, it didn't affect Shrek's strength in the slightest point precisely because Tang San was injured. The Shrek people also had a little anger in their hearts, and when fighting, their methods were even more violent like Damu Bei and Mahanjan. They even showed their style in the promotion round. Today is the 8th battle of Shrek Academy. In this battle, the first time the fatty Mahanjan played as a result, he was ridiculed by the people from the Botany Institute because of his fatter body, which made Mahanjan furious. He even let go of the restrictions on his soul power, showing his true level. 2 yellow, 2 purple, 1 black, 5 spirit rings suppressed the audience, not only stunned the opponents on stage, but even the other academy members below the stage were shocked. In particular, the 5th spirit ring that was as pitch black as ink almost scared the opponent back and forth, sitting on the ground. I'm going to wear 1 and 7 today. Mahanjan looked arrogant and uttered arrogant words on the stage. However, no one objected to his words. This battle was already doomed when Mahanjan showed his strength. In the College of Plants, there are 3 soul power levels above 40 level, and the rest are below 40 level. Under absolute rank suppression, after losing 3 rank 40 spirit masters in a row, the Botany Academy directly conceded defeat. There's nothing you can do if you don't admit defeat. You must know that Fatty's martial spirit is a phoenix, which naturally restrains plant type spirit masters. Haha, Fatty, that's alright, actually being so domineering in the ring. After Mahanjan stepped down, Damu Bei laughed and slapped Fatty's chest. Hey, that's right, brother, these days are not in vain. But to be honest, the feeling of wearing 7 is really cool. Hahaha, boss day, do you want to try it sometime? Mahanjan smiled proudly. Fatty, didn't you agree to hide your strength? How did you reveal it? You can tell by the way other people look at us. They must have listed us as rivals. Tang San looked at Mahanjan helplessly. He didn't expect that his good plan was actually broken by the dead fat man. Come on, third brother, our strength will be exposed sooner or later. I don't think there is any need to hide it. Mahanjan said nonchalantly. Yeah, little San, our strength will be revealed sooner or later. It's okay to reveal it earlier. Damu Bei also followed. This feeling of being tied up makes him very uncomfortable. Ugh, Tang San sighed helplessly. He and Hu Jiu didn't tell anyone about Salus. The better they behaved, the more dangerous they would be in the future. While Tang San was still troubled, a fiery red figure appeared in their sight. It was none other than Huo Wu. Seeing Huo Wu, the other Shrek's faces instantly filled with smiles, and they all winked at Tang San. Miss Huo Wu, what's the matter with you? Seeing Huo Wu's gaze fixed on him, Tang San asked, while rubbing his head. Huo Wu's eyes were so fiery, and she didn't even hide it at all, so it was no wonder that the rest of Shrek looked at them with a playful look. Huo Wu nodded, his eyes swept past Damu Bei and the others, and immediately said to Tang San, Tang San, I want to talk to you, tell me if you have anything. Tang San laughed, no, I want to talk to you alone. Huo Wu shook her head and said stubbornly, yo. Upon hearing this, the rest of Shrek immediately began to boo. Little San, since you still have something to do, then we won't wait for you, so don't rush back later. Damu Bei patted Tang San's shoulder with a big laugh and left with the others, leaving the time for Huo Wu and Tang San. Chapter 339. When Damu Bei and the others returned to their residence, Hu Jiu also heard about Tang San and Huo Wu. In this regard, he just smiled faintly, no exception at all. After all, Tang San was no longer the original Tang San. He had awakened the Blue Silver Emperor. Although he was not comparable to him in terms of appearance, he had surpassed Damu Bei and Oscar, and became the second handsomest among the Shrek 9 devils with a long face. It is not uncommon to be liked by Huo Wu. Sure enough, Tang San returned soon after. It's just that there was a fiery red hickey on his cheek. Little San, what's the situation? You were captured by Huo Wu? Hu Jiu pointed at Tang San's face and asked in surprise. Nothing, I was accidentally attacked. Tang San blurted out a sentence in embarrassment. Sneak attack. Huo Wu next to Hu Jiu looked at Tang San with a beaming smile. With your skills, It is indeed possible to be attacked by surprise. Besides, you're still injured. This reason is still valid. Hey, Xiao Wu, when did you learn to fail? Tang San's ears turned a little red. He scratched his head and looked at Hu Jiu and Xiao Wu speechlessly. The promotion round was still going on, and Tang San's injury would soon be healed, so he could re-enter the promotion round point for the next few days. Shrek Academy has maintained a state of vigorous progress, fierce and violent fighting style, and other academies are afraid of becoming their opponents so far. They have won 11 in a row, ranking first among all academies in the next match. Their opponent is Thunder Academy, and after that, Kamikaze Academy. These two colleges are the most powerful among all participating colleges. But for Shrek, it only took a little effort. In particular, Mahanjan, the 51 attack type Soul King, the martial Soul Fire Phoenix, with astonishing explosive power, fights more violently than Daemube. He has already shown his style in the qualifying competition. Each team of Thunder Academy and Kamikaze Academy had 4 Spirit Masters of level 40 or higher, but for Shrek, it was still a little short. In Shrek Academy, there is no level lower than 40, and they also hide their strength. It is a sure thing to win the championship. Tang San. After the match with Thunder Academy, Feng Xiaoshan came alone to Shrek, who was about to leave, blocking everyone's way. Mahanjan rolled his eyes. What's the matter with you? Why do you come in our way every time? Tang San also frowned and went straight to Feng Xiaoshan. What's the matter with you? During the early days of the promotion competition, Feng Xiaoshan was still wandering around Shrek's side a lot, and it wasn't once or twice that he blocked the way, but since the last time Hu looked for him alone, this Feng Xiaoshan has never been seen again. Feng Xiaoshan took a deep breath and suppressed his aggrieved look. Tomorrow is the last battle. We are the opponents. In fact, when Hu and Tang San were talking alone that day, he quietly followed, but he didn't expect to see Hu kissing Tang San forcibly. This scene was really a big blow to him. You must know that he has always liked Hu very much, even though people have never given him any good looks. Now blocking Tang San's way, of course, out of jealousy. Oh, I know we will be rivals tomorrow. Tang San nodded and said, so, I hope tomorrow we will have a fair fight. Can you agree? Feng Xiaoshan looked at Tang San provocatively. Tomorrow I will be the first to appear. I hope to see you in the ring. Okay, we promised you. Tomorrow you will know how wrong your challenge is. Before Tang San could answer, Daemube had already agreed for him. They have also heard about the relationship between Feng Xiaoshan and Hu. And during this time, Daemube also saw Hu's attitude towards Tang San. As an old lover, Daemube knew what was going on, and in order to help his brother, he immediately agreed for him. Okay, then I'll be waiting for you tomorrow. Feng Xiaoshan gave Tang San a deep look, and without waiting for him to reply, he turned around and prepared to leave. Wait. Tang San suddenly stopped Feng Xiaoshan. What's the matter? Don't you dare. Feng Xiaoshan looked at Tang San sarcastically. Shaking his head, Tang San said lightly, no, I just want to tell you, since you want to fight me so much, let's just make a big bet. Don't let anyone else play tomorrow, just the two of us. The battle is determined to win or lose. Do you dare? A sharp look flashed in Tang San's eyes. He wasn't a good-natured person either. With his eyes, he could already see what Feng Xiaoshan was targeting. Although he didn't know it yet, it was all because of Hu. The reason, but not retaliating, is not his style. The third brother is domineering. Mahanjan was the first to express his support. Okay, if you lose, I hope not to see you next to Hu. Feng Xiaoshan gave Tang San a serious look. His eyes gradually became serious. His aura was like a volcano erupting, full of provocation. I'll talk about it when you win. Tang San's eyes turned cold. Besides, she's her, I'm me, and I have nothing to do with her. In his view, this kind of bet was originally vexatious, and there was nothing to say. Such a big smell of gunpowder has long attracted the attention of others among these people. Of course, there is also the Blazing Academy. Hu looked dull at Tang San, who was walking away. She didn't expect that Tang San would say such ruthless words. Of course, she didn't expect Feng Xiaoshan to go to trouble Tang San because of jealousy. Sister, is this the result you want? beside her. Huo Washan asked lightly. No, I don't know. Huo Wu shook her head and said absent-mindedly. Hu Jiu also heard about Feng Xiaoshan's agreement with Tang San. In this regard, Hu Jiu didn't say much. Although Tang San usually looks quite mature and calm, there is still something wrong with being young and vigorous. He also has this point himself. Young people are not angry. How can they be called young people? Hu Jiu patted Tang San on the shoulder and said with a smile, don't hold back. Let that Feng Xiaoshan taste your power tomorrow. It's the last battle anyway. Don't suppress your strength. Play beautifully. I'll go watch the fight tomorrow. These past few days, Tang San and the others didn't watch Hu Jiu's battle, and they trained alone every day. Of course, the result was not bad. The soul skill of the hand knife was only a little bit close to consummation. Okay. Tang San nodded, but he wanted to see if Feng Xiaoshan had any confidence to ask him to single out. The time soon came to the second day. The first 6 battles had ended, and the battle between Kamikaze Academy and Shrek Academy was left. This is the last battle. The strength of the two colleges is very strong, so it was put at the end. Chapter 340 Feng Xiaotian and -039 S stunt. Today is the final battle of the promotion round, and it is also the one-on-one battle between Tang San and Feng Xiaoshan. Looking at Feng Xiaoshan, who was slowly walking towards the ring, Hu Jiu really wanted to arrest him and ask him, how could he, a little soul sect of over 40 levels, have the courage to challenge Tang San of level 60? Tang San, Feng Xiaoshan. After taking the stage, the two stood opposite each other and reported their names. Feng Xiaoshan is no longer as irritable as yesterday and even has the mood to chat with Tang San. Tang San, I'm 24 years old this year. When I was 6 years old, I awakened the mutated martial arts double-headed devil wolf, possessing a congenital full soul power talent. So far, my soul power level is 44. This level is not obtained by me, but I cultivated bit by bit. To be honest, I appreciate you, but for Huo Wu, I must defeat you. By the way, can you tell me your level? I feel like you are hiding your strength. Facing Feng Xiaoshan's tentative gaze, Tang San smiled faintly, not hiding his strength. He raised his right hand, and a family of blue silver grass emerged from his hand. On the blue silver grass leaves, a trace of golden stripes made it look mysterious and noble. Let me introduce again. Tang San, Martial Soul Blue Silver Grass, Level 65th Ring Control System Soul King. Tang San's indifferent voice stopped in Feng Xiaoshan's ears, but roared like thunder. What? Level 60? You lied to me, right? Feng Xiaoshan showed an exaggerated expression, but he couldn't help staring at the 5 spirit rings of Erliang, Erzi, and Yahui slowly moving under Tang San's feet. He doesn't believe it. With 5 spirit rings, even if it wasn't level 60, it was still level 50 or above, a whole rank higher than him. I can't. I'm innately full of soul power, and I didn't slack off when I was cultivating. Why is your level higher than mine? Feng Xiaoshan was a little suspicious of Life Point. Even though he knew that Tang San was very good, he also guessed that he might be innately full of spirit power, but he was also innately full of spirit power, so his level should be about the same point. But now it's so much worse. It's not scientific. Please, release their martial spirits. The game is about to start. Just as Feng Xiaoshan's expression was dull, the referee's voice of dissatisfaction sounded, and he looked at Feng Xiaoshan like a mental retardation. It's a competition now, and you're actually stunned in the ring, even forgetting to release your martial spirit. This mental ability is too poor. Not like himself. Even if he heard that Tang San's rank had reached 60, he could still do 2 things with one mind, while being shocked while mechanically arranging the match. Raw. Feng Xiaoshan was reminded by the referee, and instantly reacted. A long whistle, a faint blue light filled his body, and accompanied by the long whistling sound, his body had obvious changes. The body became obviously larger, hair it turned into the color of green grassland, and what was even more strange was that a blue wolf head appeared on his left shoulder. That wolf head's gaze was piercing, and traces of chills were continuously released from its eyes, as if to freeze Tang San. Game. Start. Seeing that both sides were ready, the referee immediately announced the match, and then quickly disappeared above the ring like a breeze point. As soon as the referee's voice fell, Feng Xiaoshan turned into a cyan phantom, and his body quickly rushed towards Tang San, leaving a long cyan light behind him. Because of the speed. What? A fast speed? Tang San's eyes lit up. He remembered that Feng Xiaoshan was an attack-type spirit master, but judging from the speed he showed now, it wasn't slower than agile attack-type spirit masters. With his right hand raised, thick blue-silver grasses quickly sprang up on the ground in front of Tang San. In the blue-silver grass, strands of golden threads were intertwined, and it looked more vital and tough. First, Spirit Ring, Wind Blade formation. Before anyone came to Tang San, Feng Xiaoshan's attack had already begun. He saw 10 sharp blades pop out from the wolf claws of his hands, and while waving his hands, the wind blades formed into pieces, overwhelming the sky and the earth. Slashing, the blue-silver grass standing between the two was quickly cleared by the countless wind blade arrays, turning into blue light spots and disappearing in place. Feng Xiaoshan's martial spirit evolved from the swift wind demon wolf. Generally speaking, the first spirit ability of the swift wind demon wolf should be the wind blade, but after mutating into the swift wind two-headed demon wolf, Feng Xiaoshan's first spirit ability, it has become a wind blade array. Its effect is similar to that of Meng Yan's snake blade formation. Humph. Tang San snorted coldly. His eyes looked directly at Feng Xiaoshan, who was approaching. His hands had turned white jade at some point. His feet were like ghosts, a few flickering, and he even greeted Feng Xiaoshan. Not at all. Weak point. He is trying to fight Feng Xiaoshan head on. A control type soul master actually wants to confront a strong attack type battle soul master, which is too self-confident. Of course, Tang San really had the capital of self-confidence. With more than 10 levels of rank suppression, plus his Zuanshan treasure recording technique, it was not difficult to act as a storm type spirit master. Bang, bang, bang. Tang San rushed up by himself, just in accord with Feng Xiaoshan's intention, raised the wolf claws between his hands, and began to confront Tang San head on. The moment the two met, their expressions were stern. Tang San's jade-like palm was like a woman's, and when he collided with Feng Xiaoshan's wolf claws, only a series of sparks were left, and there was no scar at all. HMPH, it seems that you do have some skills. But don't underestimate me too much. Feng Xiaoshan tapped his toes, and his body quickly retreated. When retreating, the second spirit ring and the third spirit ring under his feet lit up at the same time. Behind him, a pair of cyan wings popped out instantly. During the flapping of his wings, his body had already left the ground, and he was soaring upwards, not stopping until he reached a height of 50 meters. Feng Xiaoshan showed a confident look on his face. What about level 60? At a high level, it's useless if you can't fly. Looking down at Tang San, Feng Xiaoshan smiled lightly. Tang San, you are indeed stronger than I thought. But no matter how strong you are, it's useless. For my love, I must defeat you. Next, I will use my self-created soul skill as attacking you. Be careful. This is my self-created soul skill, Gale Devil Wolf 36 slashes. Don't blame me if you can't hold on, because once the soul skill is issued, it will be me can't stop. So, it's too late to admit defeat now. Even though he knew in his heart that Tang San was impossible to admit defeat, he kindly reminded him. Thank you for reminding me. Tang San glanced at Feng Xiaoshan in surprise, but his face didn't show anything. You must know that self-created soul skills and self-created soul skills are different. In Douluo continent, as long as it is not a spirit ring skill, it can be called a self-created soul skill. When looking at Feng Xiaoshan's expression, this self-created soul skill seems to be created by him. Just like Hu Jiu's self-created soul power control and spiral pill. This kind of creative talent was what surprised Tang San. Chapter 341 Tang San 039 S Soulbone Blast Demon Wolf 36 slashes. Hearing the name, Hu Jiu's eyes lit up, and he had some thoughts about this spirit ability in his heart. He remembered that this spirit skill was very similar to the Chaos Cloak Hammer. Although it was not as powerful as the Chaos Cloak, Hu Jiu was sure that, if he got this spirit skill, and used it to hang up, it would be comparable to the Chaos Cloak. The hammer technique complements each other and merges into a new soul skill point, but I just don't know if Feng Xiaoshan is willing to contribute to his 36 slashes of the Wind Demon Wolf point. While Hu Jiu was still contemplating, in the ring, Feng Xiaoshan had already begun to unleash his 36 consecutive strikes of the Wind Demon Wolf point. I saw the right wing standing up behind him, the other wing maintaining the balance of the body, and the other falling down, rushing towards Tang San like a shooting star. Boom. Tang San waited for work, raised his fists, his hands like white jade. A straight punch and Feng Xiaoshan's sharp wings of light and shadow touched each other. Point at the moment when the two of them touched each other, Feng Xiaoshan was knocked out, and the flying speed was faster than when he rushed over. However, in midair, Feng Xiaoshan flapped one wing, and his body crossed a mysterious semicircle, as if an invisible thread was pulling. And the wings behind his body were cut out again, and the force was heavier than the previous time. Point feeling the different strength of the two attacks, Tang San's eyes lit up. He felt that the slashing force on Feng Xiaoshan's wings was stronger each time, and in terms of the move principle, it was very similar to his chaotic wind hammer technique. If he didn't want to reveal his second martial soul, the clear sky hammer, he would definitely take out his hammer and compare it with Feng Xiaoshan to see whether the Storm Demon Wolf's 36 slashes was stronger, or the Chaos Cloak was stronger. In midair, Feng Xiaoshan was secretly surprised when he saw that Tang San steadily picked up several of his own combos. Tang San's fist looked white and tender, but it was as hard as steel when chopped. Until now, his 36 strikes of the Gale Devil Wolf didn't leave a single mark on Tang San's hand. Point not only that, but because of the wings, he felt pain deep into the bone marrow, as if the wings on his back were about to break. Point in fact, Tang San was far from being as light-footed as he seemed. When he received the wing combo that Feng Xiaoshan's blow was stronger than the next, he didn't feel well. His fists and arms were almost numb, but he didn't show it on his face. That's it. Drink. Blue Silver Overlord Spear. Now, Tang San had an idea, stretched out his right hand, the fifth spirit ring under his feet lit up, and countless blue silver grasses appeared out of thin air in his hands, quickly entangled together, forming a domineering and extraordinary long spear. The Hurricane Devil 36 slashes in a row. Right, then you can also try my soul skill, the random cloak hammer technique. As soon as he finished speaking, Tang San's body also spun. Point the long spear uses the chaotic cloak hammer method, and the body is full of tension like a strong bow. Point from a distance, Feng Xiaoshan and Tang San's movements seemed to be synchronized, but one was in the sky and the other was underground. Point Feng Xiaoshan's wings violently collided with Tang San's blue silver spear. The violent collision sound, like rain hitting a banana, kept roaring in people's ears. The bodies of the two turned faster and faster, and soon they touched each other dozens of times. Suddenly, the movements of the two people stopped very strangely. Point Feng Xiaoshan stood out of thin air in midair, and the body on his body was almost burning intensely. The sweat on his face evaporated before it fell to the ground. The air around his body was a little distorted because the breath was too strong. Point on the ground, Tang San didn't give in too much. On his right hand, the original blue silver overlord spear was covered by extremely condensed blue rays of light. The spear exuded strong spirit power fluctuations, shining like a small sun. Point in terms of spirit power control ability, Tang San is better than Feng Xiaoshan. After all, since he was a child, he had been taught the soul power control soul skill by Hu Jiu. After so many years of cultivation, he was able to control his soul power to a meager level. 1 blow determines the outcome. If you can take my last blow, then you will win this battle. Feng Xiaoshan's eyes were sharp, staring directly at Tang San on the ground. Come on, I guess you only have the strength left for the last blow. I won't take advantage of you. Then let's decide the outcome with one blow. Tang San looked at Feng Xiaoshan indifferently. This kind of language trap, he found out already. Battle. At the moment when Tang San agreed, a strong cyan light emerged from Feng Xiaoshan's body, all gathered on the wings in front of him. The last blow of the 36 consecutive strikes of the Gale Demon Wolf, carrying 10,000 jins of light force rushed towards Tang San. Drink. Tang San didn't want to be left behind. The blue silver overlord spear in his hand crossed an arc and a half, and with the strength of the chaos cloak hammer technique, he went up to him. Boom. Cyan. Rays of light and blue rays of light intertwined, and strong spirit power fluctuations erupted in front of Feng Zai Ocean and Tang San Point. The entire campus is like an earthquake, and the surrounding audience can clearly feel the vibration of the ground point in the center of the ring. The smoke filled the air and the dust was flying point. When the smoke dissipated, only a huge deep pit appeared in the center of the ring, and the deep pit was still emitting this scorching aura point. But the fighting Tang San and Feng Zai Ocean disappeared without knowing. When Hu Jiu's expression changed, and he looked up at the mid-air above the ring point in sight, the figures of Feng Zai Ocean and Tang San appeared. Feng Zai Ocean's wings are only left hanging upside down behind the tail. If the other wing is still gently flapping, it will probably not be able to fly. And the clothes on his body also became tattered, looking like a miserable beggar. On the contrary, Tang San, who was opposite him, didn't seem to be affected. His clothes were just a little messy, his long hair was fluttering, and his body was standing in the air, exuding a dashing aura point under his feet. The rich blue rays of light kept on swallowing, eating to support his flight. This is the soul bone. In the VIP seat, Salus stood up extremely rudely, his eyes filled with extremely greedy eyes. Tang San's information was very clear. Among his spirit ring abilities, there were no spirit abilities that could fly. According to his eyes, this is definitely the effect of a spirit bone, and the age of this spirit bone is not low. The greed in Salus' eyes quickly turned into a cold man, and he was guilty. Even Huan Zhen knew this. Salus was originally prepared to deal with Hu Jiu and the others, but seeing Tang San's spirit bones now made him feel no more scruples. In the sky above the ring, Tang San still didn't know what Salus was thinking. Only Hu Jiu had a keen sense of it. You lost this battle. Tang San looked at the embarrassed Feng Zai Ocean indifferently. Although this battle exposed his soul bone at the last moment, he was more afraid than the current Shrek was not the original Shrek. There are two soul Douluo, enough to protect their safety. If not, then as Hu Jiu said, it is cult. His father is a famous title Douluo. Even if he exposes a little bit of trump card, Tang San will not be able to. Not the slightest worry. Chapter 342. Exchanging Soul Skills. The promotion match has now officially ended. Because of the betting contract, Feng Zai Ocean conceded defeat on behalf of Kamikaze Academy, and Shrek won the match. There were 14 games in the promotion round, but Shrek Academy had won the first place in the promotion round with 14 consecutive victories, become the best ranked player in the Heaven Dao Empire. 14 consecutive victories made Shrek Academy stand out, and other academies were even more convinced by their losses. After the game, Emperor Zhu Yi came to the stage to encourage them as usual. As the number one Shrek, he was highly praised by Emperor Zhu Yi. What is satisfying is that Emperor Zhu Yi's reward, he fulfilled his promise and won the top 5 academies. Not only won the reward of 10,000 gold soul coins again, but even the title has been improved. Including Shrek, all members of Blazing Academy, Xianshu Academy, Thunder Academy, and Kamikaze Academy have all had their titles upgraded by 1 level, which can only be obtained after they graduate. The captains and vice captains of the 5 academies were promoted from their original Viscount titles to L's, while other students were promoted to Viscounts. L title. Emperor Zhu Yi has made a lot of money. Hu Jiu exclaimed in surprise. HMPH, what is an earl? If the 9th brother is willing, after I get the throne, let me make you a duke. A small earl is not worthy of you. Damu Bay snorted coldly and flattered Hu. 9 said, haha, then I'll just wait. Hu Jiu snorted. He wasn't really interested in titles or anything. If it wasn't for the sea god's heart, he wouldn't even agree to the current position of worship. Okay, I will definitely keep the duke position for brother 9. Hu Jiu didn't take it seriously, but Damu Bay took it seriously. After all, the Heaven Dao Empire and the Star Luo Empire were in a hostile relationship. As a prince, he certainly wouldn't give up on Hu. 9 of these thighs. Just relying on Hu Jiu's cultivation of ginseng is enough to make him a guest of any empire. After Emperor Zhu Yi finished his impassioned speech, Hu Jiu set his eyes on Feng Zai Ocean. Little Sun, go talk to Feng Zai Ocean with me. Hu Jiu had nothing to do with Feng Zai Ocean, but Tang San made friendship with him. After Tang San and Feng Zai Ocean fought in the ring just now, he explained to Feng Zai Ocean clearly, indicating that he had no interest in Huo Wu at all. This news made Feng Xiaoshan overjoyed, expressing on the spot that he recognized Tang San as a brother of course. It also made Hu Jiu scold Tang San for being unpromising. Tang San will soon be 15 years old, the moment of youth and ignorance. But Hu Jiu discovered that Tang San seemed to be crooked, and there was still no girl who could make his heart move. Could it be that after he robbed Xiao Wu, Tang San couldn't develop? What do you mean? Tang San's eyes lit up, guessing Hu Jiu's purpose. Although the 36-hit combo of the Hurricane Devil is not as good as the random cloak hammer method, it still has a certain reference value. Let's go to Feng Xiaoshan and ask if we can change his soul skill. Hu Jiu nodded, acquiescing to Tang San's guess. Leave it to me. With me, he should agree. Tang San said confidently. He is not disgusted with Feng Xiaoshan, but thinks that he is very intelligent and has the ability to create his own soul skills. Before the Kamikaze Academy had left, Hu Jiu and Tang San found Feng Xiaoshan. Haha, brother Tang San and brother Hu Jiu, I was going to play with you later, but I didn't expect you to come here. Feng Xiaoshan ran to Shrek quite a few times, and he recognized Hu Jiu. This auxiliary spirit master. It's just that Hu Jiu has always been relatively low-key, and Feng Xiaoshan didn't know his true strength. It seems we thought of going together. Let's go. I'll be the host today. Let's find a place to talk slowly, Tang San said with a smile. Oh. Feng Xiaoshan raised his brows, then nodded. He wasn't an idiot. Looking at Tang San and Hu Jiu, he seemed to have something to do with him. The royal hunting ground was not far from Shandao City, and within half an hour, the three of them arrived at a hotel with a good taste. This hotel has 3 floors. There are 2 big red lanterns hanging at the gate of the first floor. There are 2 beautiful girls standing at the gate. These 2 girls don't wear much, and they are the kind of clothes that save fabrics. They bend down slightly. A touch of Snow White almost dazzled their eyes under the warm greeting of the guy. The 3 found a single room and ordered a large table of dishes. Brother Tang San, if you have anything, just say it directly. There is no need to be so polite between us brothers. Feng Xiaoshan patted Tang San on the shoulder and raised his eyebrows. Indeed, although he lost to Tang San in the ring, what made him even more happy was that Tang San had no interest in Hu Wu. In this way, wouldn't he still have a chance to pursue Hu Wu? Speaking of which, he had to thank Tang San. Let me tell you, I saw you and Xiaozhen fighting in the arena just now, especially your 36 combos of Storm Demon Wolf. I'm very interested. I don't know if you are interested in exchanging it with us. Hu Jiu picked up the teacup and touched Feng Xiaoshan. In exchange for my 36th combo of Wind Demon Wolf. Feng Xiaoshan was stunned. He didn't expect that his soul skill Zuran would be taken a fancy to. However, he is not a person who treasures the broom, and Hu Jiu also said that it was an exchange, which made him interested all of a sudden. My Storm Demon Wolf's 36 combos can't compare to Tang San's marksmanship, so what's the trade-off? Feng Xiaoshan gave a wry smile. With his eyes, he could see that Tang San was also using it when he was fighting. A soul skill that superimposes power, more mature and more powerful than his. Haha, your Blast Demon Wolf's 36 combo is also very good. The Stone of the Mountain can attack Jade. There is always no harm in learning one more soul skill, Hu Jiu said. Then, what soul ability do you want to use to exchange with me? Feng Xiaoshan looked at Hu Jiu, and now he could see that it wasn't Tang San who invited him to dinner today, but Hu Jiu. Look at this. Hu Jiu stretched out his left hand, and between his 5 fingers, tiny threads of soul power came out, extending to the teacup on the table. Hu Jiu moved his finger, and the teacup flew steadily in front of him, like an invisible holding the same hand point. After taking a sip of tea, Hu Jiu stopped the teacup on the table remotely. What? A precise soul power control ability. Feng Xiaoshan looked at Hu Jiu in surprise. From the hand just now, it can be seen that Hu Jiu not only has excellent soul power control ability, but also has extremely condensed soul power. Will be able to bring up the teacup. This is a soul skill specially used to improve the control ability of soul power, and the effect is not only that, such as walking on the wall, walking on the water, etc. Hu Jiu explained a little about the control of soul power. Effect point. After Feng Xiaoshan listened to it, he looked at Hu Jiu with clear eyes, obviously very interested in his spirit ability. Chapter 343 OYIN-039 S Phantom. I'll change. There was no need for Hu Jiu to explain too much, and Feng Xiaoshan couldn't wait to speak, as if he was afraid that Hu Jiu would not give it to him. The 36 combos of his Hurricane Devil Wolf are the most important to condense you. If he can have Hu Jiu's soul power control ability, I'm afraid that his strength will be greatly improved. It is good. Hu Jiu smiled contentedly. He knew that Feng Xiaoshan couldn't refuse this control type soul skill point. After the goal was achieved, the next step was simple. The three chatted, drank tea and ate, and finally exchanged soul skills with each other, but they seemed to be cordial. It was not until evening that Hu Jiu and Tang San returned to the royal hunting ground. The next day, Hu Jiu and the others left the royal hunting ground under the leadership of Flender and returned to Shrek Academy. This time we have achieved very good results in the promotion round, but don't be complacent. There are still bigger tests waiting for you. As soon as he returned to the academy, Flender called them to have a small discussion meeting. Hu Jiu and the others nodded. They also knew that the finals would be the highlight of this year's Continental Advanced College Elite competition, and the previous battles were just appetizers. The finals were held in Wuhan City, which was at the border between the Heaven Dao Empire and the Star Luo Empire. That city was named after Wuhan City. It was the main hall of Wuhan Temple, and it was also the old nest of Wuhan Temple. During the finals, Pope Bibidan would attend in person. At that time, they will not only face the Star Luo Empire team, but also face the Golden Generation of Spirit Hall. However, in terms of level, Hu Jiu and others can already crush the Golden Generation, so there is no need to worry. Next, you have 3 days for a pairing. After 3 days, we need to join up with the Royal Knights and go to the Spirit Hall to participate in the finals. Flender looked at Hu Jiu and the others with satisfaction. At the current level, he believes that they can definitely shine in the finals by then. They too should graduate. Thinking of this, Flender sighed very much. As Shrek Academy has been open for so many years, and he has never met so many talented students, not to mention Hu Jiu, just Tang San, Xiao Wu, Damu Bei and others. Every one of them is placed outside and others are rushing for it. Talented students. Teacher, can we have a good rest for 3 days after writing it down? This time has exhausted us. Mahanjan asked expectantly. Flender waved his hand and agreed immediately. No problem, as long as you don't play too crazy, especially you guys. Give me some moderation. Don't think I don't know what you want to do. Damu Bei, Mahanjan, and Oscar looked at Flender embarrassedly. Those words were about them. After the team disbanded, Tang San and Hu Jiu left side by side. Xiao Jiu, I want to go back to Binghuo Liangai tomorrow, and by the way, tell my father about Salus. Okay, then I'll accompany you tomorrow, and see auntie by the way. Hu Jiu nodded, and he didn't miss out on Binghuo Liangai, especially after becoming a soul sage, so that he had enough soul power to be able to directly teleport to the Eyes of Ice and Fire. Through his hard work, Tang San's mother, with the blessing of his Ice and Fire domain, has grown very fast, and so far has become a spirit beast for over 20,000 years. Hu Jiu estimated that in just over a year, Aryan could have a 100,000 year cultivation base, and be resurrected as an adult. Thank you. Tang San also knew the reason why Hu Jiu followed. For Hu Jiu's help, he could only silently thank him, thinking in his heart that when he became stronger, he would go outside and find some spirit abilities to repay Hu Jiu. It was well known that Hu Jiu liked spirit abilities. In fact, not only Tang San, but other people in Shrek wanted to repay Hu Jiu with spirit abilities. It's just that everyone has not graduated yet, so there is no chance for the time being. Early the next morning, Hu Jiu teleported Tang San to Binghuo Liangai. Originally, Xiao Wu also wanted to come, but she was dragged by Ning Rangran to go shopping, along with Zhu Zuking and Men Yiren. Dad, we're here to see you. After entering the Eyes of Ice and Fire, Tang San shouted happily, well, I heard about your game, and the performance was not bad. It didn't live up to my expectations. Tang Heo nodded and said lightly, "Hey, Uncle Heo went to watch our game?" Hu Jiu asked curiously. "Well, I paid attention to it when I went out to buy daily necessities 2 days ago." Tang Heo said lightly. Although Tang Heo said it easily, Hu Jiu and Tang San both knew that Tang Heo should have gone to watch their game on purpose. Otherwise, there is no way of knowing how they are doing. It's a pity that food type soul masters can't participate in the promotion competition. Otherwise, Uncle Heo will be able to see that I'm in the limelight. Hu Jiu had a pity expression on his face. "It's nothing to see. I know your strength very well." Tang Heo glanced at Hu Jiu, then waved his hand. "Go and bless my yin in the field of ice and fire. Don't just hang around here." "Yes." Hu Jiu nodded, raised his feet, and walked towards the blue-silver grass that had already formed. "Little San, tell Uncle Heo about Salus." Hu Jiu winked at Tang San. He remembered that if there were no accidents when they went to Wuhan City next, they would be attacked by several titled Douluos. Without Tang Heo's thigh, he really wouldn't dare to go. "Okay." Tang San nodded and began to whisper to Tang Heo what happened. And Hu Jiu came to the blue-silver grass and started the field of ice and fire to help her grow quickly. As soon as he approached, Hu Jiu was warmly received by Yin, and the branches and leaves of the blue-silver grass quickly spread to him, wrapped around his arm, and pulled him into the depths of the blue-silver grass forest. "What, Hu?" Jiu curiously followed the strength of the blue-silver grass and walked inside. By now, Yin had grown enormously. There were blue-silver grasses everywhere in a radius of 200 meters in diameter. The roots were standing upright. Each blue-silver grass was about 20 meters high. General forest. Soon, Hu Jiu was led by the blue-silver grass to the center of the blue-silver grass. What appeared in front of him was a thick blue-silver grass, and the branches of the blue-silver grass at least had to be hugged by the two of them. "Zio. Jiu. Thank you for your help. It's been a long time for you." A gentle voice sounded in Hu Jiu's ears. When Hu Jiu looked up in the direction where the voice appeared, he found a hazy blue light and shadow appeared in front of him. In the shroud of light and shadow, Hu Jiu found a beautiful figure. He was wearing a long blue gold dress. He had a noble and elegant temperament, and his extremely perfect face was like a fairy in the sky. The azure blue eyes were like sapphires, and there was a special tenderness in Hu Jiu's eyes. "Yin?" Hu Jiu asked tentatively. Chapter 344 Heading to Wuhan City. "Yes, I'm Yin, but you should call me Auntie." Yin's phantom eyebrows curved slightly, and said softly to Hu Jiu, Auntie Yin, hello." Hu Jiu smiled awkwardly. In fact, he wanted to ask, what should he do if his brother's mother was so beautiful that she could hardly hold back. In terms of appearance, even the current Zio Wu and Zhu's Yuking are not comparable to Yin. Of course, this is also the reason why Zio Wu and Zhu's Yuking have not grown up yet. If they wait a few years, Hu Jiu believes that they think they are comparable to Yin. "Thank you Hu Jiu for your hard work for me these days. If it wasn't for your ice and fire domain, I still don't know when it would appear. You are the benefactor of our family." Yin said with a smile. "Auntie Yin, you're welcome. I'm brothers Zhiaozhen and I should help you. Besides, I didn't help much, I just did what I could." Hu Jiu responded politely. In front of such a big beauty, he is still very stressed, although now he only sees her light and shadow. By the way, Zhiaozhen probably hasn't seen Auntie before, so I'll call him over. Suddenly, Hu Jiu ran away, as if he had thought of something. For a scene like a good buddy's mother, it would be better if he didn't do it or not. He had to contact Yin as little as possible. "Little San, I saw your mother. She's waiting for you. Hurry up." Hu Jiu hurried to Tang San and pushed him out. "Mom? What's the matter?" Tang San looked at Hu Jiu in confusion, then at Tang Heo. Tang Heo nodded with a smile on his face. "Go, Tang." San walked in the direction of blue-silver grass with a puzzled expression on his head. "Uncle Heo, did Zhiaozhen tell you about Salus just now?" Looking at the silent Tang Heo, Hu Jiu took the lead in finding a topic. HMPH, Salus is just a small character. What should really be noticed is the spirit hall. Don't worry, I will follow you when you go to the finals, Tang Heo said lightly. Although his expression was flat, Hu Jiu could see the monstrous anger in the depths of his eyes. That's great. I'm relieved to have Uncle Heo here. Hu Jiu breathed a sigh of relief, a look of joy on his face. If Tang Heo didn't follow him, he would have to consider whether to go to Wuhan City. That place was Bibi Dong's territory. Without Tang Heo's thigh to follow, he really didn't dare to go. In the following time, Hu Jiu began to ask Tang Heo about the spirit skills of the domineering body that he had just started. The soul skill of dominance can make one's body very strong. It is one of Tang Heo's housekeeping skills. If it wasn't for dominance, he wouldn't have been able to endure for so many years with such a serious internal injury. If it was an ordinary person, I'm afraid that it would not be able to hold on. The training of the hegemony is very simple. Just one word: beat or beaten. The harder the beating, the faster the soul skill progresses. Hu Jiu's physical fitness is already strong and his skin is very solid. Tang Heo's fight is so happy. The faster Hu Jiu's progress bar progresses in just half a day, the hegemonic body was upgraded from the 2nd level to the 3rd level. Of course, apart from being beaten, Hu Jiu was not without resistance. Distraction control, nether soul requiring bell, hand knife, white tiger sound killing roar, and shockwave have been used in succession, and the progress is amazing. Tang San stayed at Aryan's place, and the mother and son told each other about their love sickness, and it took a whole day to talk about it. Soon, the 3-day holiday had passed, and Hu Jiu and the others had to set off for Wuhan City. For the past 3 days, Hu Jiu and Tang San have basically been in the eyes of ice and fire. Hu Jiu is for cultivation, and Tang San is to accompany mother in just 3 days. Under Tang Heo's training, Hu Jiu gained a lot. The first is the hand knife soul skill. This soul skill is about to be completed. With Tang Heo's training, it only took 2 days to reach the full level, and even the promotion progress bar has risen a lot. Then the nether soul bell was raised to level 9, the Beihuayan killing roar was raised to level 7, the shockwave was also raised to level 7, and the lowest level of tyrant body reached level 5, which made Hu Jiu's body stronger and stronger. 3 days later, a total of 15 academy teams were escorted by the 500 royal knights to Wuhan City. There are thousands of people in the group, and they set off in a mighty manner. Because Emperor Zhu Yi couldn't leave the Heaven Dao Imperial City casually, he sent the eldest prince, Zuking, as the representative, as the envoy of the Heaven Dao Empire, to participate in the final evaluation work. Wuhan City was located on the border between the Heaven Dao Empire and the Star Luo Empire. The distance was long, and with the slow travel of thousands of people, it would take about 20 days to get there. The competition time of the finals is actually not long. The finals are based on the elimination system. There are a total of 33 teams, and it only takes about 10 days to complete the competition. The Shrek Academy, where Hu Jiu was placed in a position closer to them by the first prince, because of his excellent grades and Hu Jiu's relationship. From time to time, Hu Jiu would be invited by the eldest prince to his side to exchange feelings. At present, although Hu Jiu has become the enshrined of the Heaven Dao Empire, it is indeed the first prince's private offering, and it is the power of the first prince. Because he hasn't graduated yet, he doesn't need to perform any obligations, and he has to wait until he graduates, when he is officially on the job. The position of worship is no better than others. This position has very low constraints on Hu Jiu. Usually, he does not need to complete any tasks. To put it bluntly, it is an idle job. Although it is an idle position, it is very important, because so far, there has not been a soul master above the soul sage who has clearly expressed support for Zuking. Even the 3 chairmen of the teaching committee of the Cheyenne Dao Royal Academy, they are only covertly biased towards the eldest prince, but never dared to publicly express his support. So Zuking suddenly got the support of Hu Jiu, the food type soul sage, and of course he cherished it very much, and was very friendly to him. Little San, it's a pity you don't seem to have a chance. Hu Jiu leaned his back on the carriage. Xiao Wu and Zhu Zuking sat beside him, showing a pity expression. What? A pity. What, is there no chance? Tang San was meditating when he heard Hu Jiu's voice and looked at him in confusion. I mean, your sister is gone. It's Hu. Hu Jiu was still pity for Tang San. Zhao. Jiu, tell me, what happened to Hu? Zhao Wu suddenly became interested, turned her head, and asked excitedly, that's right, just now I saw Feng Xiaoshan went to look for Hu, and then got on Hu's carriage, and the two had a secret conversation inside for a while. Hu Jiu said casually, secret talk, what are they talking about? Hearing this, Zhao Wu became even more excited. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 345, Ambush. I thought they were mysterious, so I paid close attention to them, and then I heard some little secrets. Hu Jiu looked at Zhao Wu calmly. This was not what he specially eavesdropped on. He eavesdropped on Tang San because of his brother. Come on, tell me, what are they talking about? Zhao Wu impatiently interrupted Hu Jiu's explanation. There is no need to explain what kind of person he is. Guaranteed to be right. She was curious now. What the hell was Feng Xiaoshan and Hu talking about? I didn't say much. The important thing is 2 points, or 1 point. Hu Jiu rubbed Zhao Wu's head amusingly, and then explained. Hu wants to win in the next finals. So I have formed an alliance with Feng Xiaoshan, and I'm going to bring her excellent team to join Kamikaze Academy, and then give Feng Xiaoshan a chance to pursue. No way. The team quota for the Spirit Master competition is fixed. How could Hu join in? Tang San frowned and interrupted. He didn't react to what happened between Hu and Feng Xiaoshan, but if Hu's team and Feng Xiaoshan's team merged, it would be a little troublesome. If the two teams were merged together, wouldn't the combined team be over level 40? This is definitely the most exciting news for all the teams above the 40th level of the Soul Sect. Nothing is impossible. How smart they are. This competition was organized by the Spirit Hall. If you want to merge into one academy, as long as the Spirit Hall agrees, it is useless for us to object. Hu Jiu curled his lips. The domineering of Wuhan Temple is not once or twice. Hu could be considered a genius. If she offered to join Wuhan Palace after the competition, Wuhan Palace would certainly not refuse. So strong and competitive. This is Damu Bei, who was closing his eyes and resting, opened his eyes and commented indifferently. In order to win, this is going to be unscrupulous. It seems that Xiaoxan's decision is right. This Hu, not a good match. So, what we are about to face is a 40th level Soul Sect team formed by Hu and Feng Xiaoshan. Zhao Wu asked with interest. She didn't dare to be interested in the relationship between Hu and Feng Xiaoshan. She realized that she had another opponent, felt itchy and wanted to fight. All level 40 and above. I'm afraid this combat power is also very powerful in the finals. Tang San sighed and nodded, but there was no worry on his face. Can they be as strong as they are? If it weren't for the lack of time to obtain the spirit rings, their Shrek team would have more than half of the Spirit Emperor personnel, not to mention Hu Jiu. The C-fixing needle. Soul Saint level strength, even in the finals, is a monster-like existence. I would like to know what was going on their faces when they knew that all of us Shrek were at the level of Soul King or above. Damu Bei's face showed a wicked look. Okay, just to let you all pay attention, don't worry. Hu Jiu waved his hand. In the blink of an eye, 10 days have passed, and their journey has passed halfway. But on this day, an accident finally happened. Under the escort of the Royal Knights, most of the time they took the official road, but sometimes they would take shortcuts and take some remote trails so that they could reach Wuhan City faster. On this day, the team entered a trail. The trail was a small valley with 2 hills that were not very high on both sides of the valley. Although the road was narrow, if they crossed from here, they could save dozens of kilometers from the point of view of the Royal Knights. Their team is so large that no blind thief would dare to ambush them, so they decided on this route without even thinking about it. But when the team came to the middle of the valley, an accident came. Some soul masters with keen perception suddenly felt a cold murderous aura, and the leader of the Royal Knights also discovered this, and immediately ordered to be on guard. It was a pity that it was too late, and at this moment, a few falling stones suddenly appeared on the mountain peaks on both sides, rolling down like raindrops. Fight. The leader of the Royal Knight team gave an order, and all the Royal Knights raised their knight spears and faced the falling rock. Tang San and Hu Jiu looked at each other, and both understood that this was Sal's move. Teacher, Dean, pay attention. I'm afraid there will be a tough battle to fight later. Hu Jiu brought the Shrek members to Flender and the others. It seems that our opponent is not easy. Flender sighed thoughtfully. However, there was no fear on his face. He was already an 81st level soul Douluo. If he and Liu Erlang used martial arts fusion skills, even a titled Douluo would be able to compete. The sudden battle did not make everyone panic. Watching the Royal Knights greet the falling stone, the students of the Soul Master Academy also took action. The dazzling rays of light shone, and countless people released their martial spirits. The spirit rings under their feet were colorful, overlapping circles and circles, extremely dazzling. I don't know when, as the rock fell, thousands of men in black followed, rushing down at an astonishing speed. The teachers and students of the 15 Soul Master Academies added together, there were 200 or 300 people in total, plus the Knights of the Royal Knights. There were about 700 or 800 people with combat power, and there are more than 1,500 thieves on the mountain. Although these 1,500 people are a little weaker than them, these thieves know how to cooperate better. Facing the students of the Spirit Master Academy, there are usually 3 or 4 people working together, besieging one person. Their attack methods are simple and neat, and they are very experienced in combat. Facing the students of the Soul Master Academy who are still in the Ivory Tower, a little carelessness will cause casualties. Moreover, these thieves are not without Soul Masters, but there are not as many as they are. With the effective cooperation, the Spirit Master Academy was at a disadvantage for a while. Facing the crowd tactics of thieves, Hu Jiu and others also encountered warm hospitality. Pay attention to conserving your soul power, and do a good job of defense. Flender instructed everyone to stand in front of Hu Jiu and the others with Zhao Wuji and Liu Erlang. Teacher, let me come. Tang San's murderous intent disappeared in a flash, standing with Flender first, his hands like phantoms, countless hidden weapons emanating from his hands, from the most common fine iron needles to bone-piercing needles, armor-piercing needles, and overlord needles. Hidden weapons of various sizes were emitted from his hands, and purple rays of light shone in his eyes, and the thieves fell into pieces down, and can't get up again. Tang San is not a good person. The hidden weapons in his hands are all poisoned. There are poisonous weeds he picked by himself, and there are toxins produced by Hu Jiu's spider spears. These toxins are mixed together, and see blood seal the throat. Within 20 or 30 meters around Tang San, the enemy was like reaping wheat, dying if hit, unable to get up again. Chapter 346 Chrysanthemum Douluo. Little San, be careful, come back, just. When Tang San was getting excited, Hu Jiu's voice came over. As soon as he finished speaking, 3 men in black suddenly rushed out in front of Tang San. Although the 3 men in black didn't release their martial spirits, they were extremely powerful in Tang San's senses, and their strong aura was even stronger than his without the slightest bit of stinginess. And with Hu Jiu's reminder, Tang San's eyes narrowed, and 6 soul-chasing gallbladders appeared in his hands. The 6 soul-chasing gallbladders drew a mysterious arc, crossed and collided with each other, and made a few slight muffled sounds. In an instant, a large dark green poisonous smoke spread out, and in the poisonous smoke, countless tiny needles shot in all directions, covering the 3 men in black who rushed up. This time, the 3 men in black could no longer hide. Their martial spirit possessed, and the dazzling light of the spirit ring filled their feet. Tang San's body quickly backed away, and when he backed up in front of Hu Jiu, he had time to observe the opponent who suddenly appeared. When he saw the opponent's spirit ring, his eyes widened even more. What resentment? What? There is actually a soul Douluo, and 2 soul saints attacked him at the same time. Haha, who asked you to show off your hidden weapons? I'm not looking for you. Hu Jiu patted Tang San's shoulder and chuckled, not paying any attention to the opponent in front of him. This is just the beginning, Lord. There are actually soul Douluo who came to sneak attack on Leo TZU students. I told you to come and go today. Hu Jiu shouted, and stood up first to stand in front of the black-clothed soul Douluo, looking for death. Liu Erlang looked at the remaining 2 soul saints, roared, and rushed forward at the same time as Hu Jiu stepped forward. Teacher, Erlang is domineering. Next, Hu Jiu complimented. 2 violent ginseng appeared in his hand instantly, and threw them at Hu Jiu and Liu Erlang. His violent ginseng, which has been over 24,500 years old, can improve all attributes by 73%. After blessing, it is not difficult to block 2 with 1 kill. A violent flame emerged from Liu Erlang's body, and the surrounding air was faintly distorted. Stop them. The man in black who took the lead said in a hoarse voice, which was obviously processed. After giving the order, he still delusionally passed through Hu Jiu and Liu Erlang, and continued to attack in the direction of Hu Jiu and the others. Go back. Hu Jiu roared angrily, the vigorous King Kong bear possessed, and slapped the black-clothed soul Douluo with a slap. The face of the black-clothed Contra changed. He didn't expect that Hu Jiu was of the same rank as him, and he was also a soul Douluo. This doesn't match the information he got. Hey, what's so strange about Contra? If you can achieve it, I can't achieve it? Xiao grinned. His hands kept moving, a pair of bare paws carrying 10,000 jins of gravity, which made Contra in black for a while hard to resist. Beside the 2, Liu Erlang's battle also began. She faced 2 soul saints of the same level by herself, but she did not show any weakness at all. Instead, she pressed the 2 soul saints to attack because of the violent attack method. Hu Jiu's violent ginseng is not a joke. With 73% of all attributes, his soul power level is almost equal to that of soul Douluo. The soul power on his body is like boiling. People dare not get close. Wow. With a scream, a huge golden eagle appeared in front of everyone. Facing Hu Jiu, the black-clothed soul Douluo finally couldn't help but use his martial soul avatar. Well, he's summoning an accomplice. Flender, who was watching the battle, frowned and his face instantly became serious. The body subconsciously maintains the shot state. Haha, come on, I'm afraid you won't be able to do it. Show me your spirit avatar. Hu Jiu fought hard, and saw the black-clothed soul Douluo release his martial spirit avatar. He followed closely without showing weakness. The 5-meter-high Wuhan avatar appeared in front of everyone. The other academy students and the black-robed bandits who were fighting instantly vacated a large area, not only staying in front of them again. Martial soul avatars are fighting. If they are affected by their moves, they will be disabled, even if not. At the same time, the 2 soul saints who were pressed and beaten by Liu Erlang couldn't bear it anymore, and each released their own martial soul avatars, and the battle became fierce in an instant. No. Dara, you are going back the more you live. You can't handle such a simple scene, and you want me to take over. Trash. A feminine voice went from far to near, and when his last word fell, it had already appeared. As soon as this person appeared, the overwhelming pressure hit the sky and the ground instantly. Flender's face changed. It turned out to be a title Douluo. Xiao and Liu Erlang also stopped in an instant, watching the figure that just appeared with vigilance on their faces. This man still had his face covered, but the others were all dark, but he was dressed in white. Even the mask was white. Don't take care of them soon. Don't you want me to do it? Bayeran played with his fingers and looked impatiently at Nordiala, who released the real body of the golden eagle. Yes, my lord. Nordiala's dull voice sounded, and his body swooped down, bypassing Hu Jiu and rushing straight towards Hu Jiu. So your target is me. What about Tang San? Why don't you go to him? Hu Jiu chuckled, and his body instantly appeared on Jin Yingsun's back, as if the Nordiala under his feet was his pet generally. Didn't see him in the slightest. Tang San, why are you looking for me? Obviously your highest level. Interesting. You are Hu Jiu. Food is the soul saint. The man in white looked at Hu Jiu with interest and asked, I know you. Your name is Jiu, right? You like the chrysanthemum? Hu Jiu asked with a smile, looking for death. The man in white's face instantly turned gloomy, and he hated others calling him this. The most point, his eyes condensed, but there was no movement. Two pink rays of light shot out of his eyes and shot straight at Hu Jiu. Haha, it turns out that the chrysanthemum is coming. Why, we are really bullied by our Shrek Academy. Be careful that this old man explodes your chrysanthemum. While Hu Jiu was teleporting to dodge, by the way, an old figure appeared in front of Hu Jiu and blocked two pink rays for him. Point, the person who came was Douluo. Point. As soon as he appeared, Guan Yu's face changed. Old poison, when did you become Shrek's lackey? You're a goddamn lackey. This old man is a guest of Shrek Academy. If you dare to kill him, this old man will kill you. Douluo yelled. Point, the two titled Douluo confronted each other, and the enormous pressure hit their faces. Tang San and the others only felt it was difficult to breathe, and even their bodies could hardly move. Point, chrysanthemum. Guan Yu stared at Douluo and asked in a deep voice, old poison, do you really want to be our enemy? If you become a bitch, you still have to build a monument. I think you have only this chance. You can't see other people's genius. The layout is too small. Douluo snorted coldly. Point, he is very confident, but behind him, there is a big guy who didn't make a move. The appearance of Douluo was not an accident. He was invited by Tang Hao, or threatened. Chapter 347 Tang Hao and -039, S-shot. Old poison, do you have to take care of this today? Yu Guan looked at Douluo coldly, his eyes gloomy. Point, Douluo's face also turned cold. Chrysanthemum pass. It's not that I want to take care of your troubles. It's you who insist on embarrassing me. Don't be too arrogant. Although I can't compare to you in terms of rank, but I will pull you along. It's okay to die. It's up to you, whether you dare or not. Seeing Douluo's image of eating him, Yu Guan's eyes narrowed, and he pretended to be out of breath. Old poison, don't call me chrysanthemum Guan, or I will fight with you. Then, come here, you chrysanthemum seller. I won't live for many years anyway. I've had enough of being between you all these years. It's not bad to be able to hold you on the back before dying. Douluo sneered to himself. The confidence is not weak at all. Well said. Jiu sells chrysanthemums. This is a fact, and will never change. Douluo, I support you, and fight with him. At this moment, a cold voice suddenly sounded. Point, hearing this voice, Douluo's face instantly became ugly, and when he looked up, a dark figure appeared in front of everyone. Point, this shadow is extremely peculiar, as if it is in another dimension, and people will never be able to touch it. Damn, don't be naughty, do your business quickly. Seeing this person, Yu Guan's face showed a look of joy, and even his voice softened. Hey, we've been delayed for so long. It's time to do it, and if we delay further, I'm afraid everyone will guess it's us. Yang smiled. Come on, I'll block the old poison. You go to kill. Remember to kill whoever should be killed. When talking about killing, Yang's eyes fell on Hu Jiu and Tang San. Point, there was a black line on Tang San's face. It seemed that Hu Jiu was right. Their target was not only Hu Jiu, but also him. Point, in the field, Flender's face changed, and with a long whistle, he instantly completed the possession of his martial soul. Erlong, let's go. Liu. Erlong frowned, snorted coldly, his body turned into a phantom, and instantly merged with Flender to form a flaming dragon. Point, Douluo also let out a long whistle, and rushed towards Yu Guan in an instant. Old poison, your opponent is me. The shadow instantly stood in front of Yu Guan, and fought with Douluo. GUI. Many, as long as you dare to hurt one person today, wait for revenge. Douluo coldly looked at the ghostly ghost Douluo in front of him, his eyes full of schadenfreude. Point, I'm afraid ghost Douluo and chrysanthemum Douluo still don't know that there is a big boss waiting for them nearby. The war started instantly. Point, ghost Douluo vs poison Douluo, Jiu Douluo vs Flender and Liu Erlong spirit fusion. Noldira vs Aowalki. Point, there were only two soul saints in black left at the scene. Point, but these two were assisted by Hu Jiu, Tang San and the others Hu Jiu, Xiao Wu and Zhu Zuking faced off against a black-clothed Soul Saint. Tang San, Damu Bei, Mahangjin, Ning Rangrang and the others faced off against another black-clothed Soul Saint. Just when their battle was at its most intense, a huge hammer suddenly appeared in the sky, and the sledgehammer fell from the sky, as if the sky and the earth were turning over, and the river was flowing backwards. At that moment, everyone only felt that the sky was about to collapse, and the heavy pressure made everyone unable to move. As the target of the sledgehammer's attack, Ghost Douluo and Hu Douluo only felt the blackness in front of their eyes. Their bodies flew out in an instant, and blood spurted out of their mouths like lifeless blood. Walk, Ghost. Douluo and Hu Douluo flashed a trace of panic in their eyes. They didn't even dare to say a word. They merged in an instant, turned into a black phantom and escaped. Die. The happy look on Douluo's face flashed, and then 3 green rays of light were shot from the palm of his hand, instantly hitting the immobile Nordiala and the other 2 Soul Saints in black. Shot by Lonely Bow's green light, the 3 of them screamed, and they began to corrode and melt from the outside in. In the blink of an eye, there was only a pool of thick water left on the scene. Hey ocean. Douluo. At this moment, a tall and straight man in white appeared in front of everyone, and the person who came was Sword Douluo Chenzin. Along with Sword Douluo was Ning Fengzi. I saw Ning Fengzi looking up at the direction the clear sky hammer flew in just now, and said respectfully, "Please come out to see clear sky." Douluo, Chen, Zin, Kendo, why didn't you do it just now? Tang Heo's figure appeared in front of everyone, still in a black robe with a hood, covering his entire body in the robe. What are you doing? Can't they handle it? Sword Douluo said lightly, looking at Tang Heo with sharp eyes. Hey ocean. Douluo blamed Uncle Jian by mistake. It is my idea to let him not rush to take action. This opportunity is rare. I want to train the children. After all, my daughter is among them. I won't watch them get hurt. Yes. Ning Fengzi explained with a smile. HMPH, worthy of being the sect master of the 7 treasure glazed tile sect. Everything's interests come first, no speculation. I'll go first. Glancing at Ning Fengzi, and giving Tang San and Hu Jiu a look, Tang Heo's figure disappeared instantly. Dad, it turns out that you've been here a long time ago. It's disgusting. You actually hide and watch the show. I'm angry. Ning Rangrang looked at Ning Fengzi dissatisfiedly. She didn't know until now that Dad and Grandpa Jian had been following them. Girl, I didn't come to protect you. I was entrusted by His Majesty to secretly protect the eldest prince. Now I'm here to help you. Thanks to the eldest prince, without our protection around him, he took a lot of risk. It's a big risk. Ning Fengzi looked at Ning Rangrang with a doting face and explained the reason. HMPH, I don't care. You don't care about me. I don't want to care about you anymore. Ning Rangrang snorted coldly, turning her head away from anyone. Many thanks to Sect Master Ning and Sword Douluo for coming to help us. Thank you very much. Flender came to Ning Fengzi with a grateful expression and thanked them. You're welcome. This is what we should do, but it doesn't seem to be of any help. Ning Fengzi said with a wry smile. Haha, I didn't expect that Clear Sky Douluo would actually take action in person this time. One move to force back the 2 titled Douluos is too powerful. Flender said excitedly. I haven't seen him in 20 years, but if he shows up this time, the mainland will be restless again. Sword Douluo sighed. Okay, Uncle Jian, we've been delayed for so long. Let's go back first. Ning Fengzi smiled and glanced at Ning Rangrang, who was still angry, then took Sword Douluo to the Zuking River. They have their own responsibilities and cannot leave at will point. After driving back the 2 powerful enemies, Chrysanthemum Douluo and Ghost Douluo, the rest was easy. Under the organization of Zuking, the academies and the Royal Knights ordered them to push back the remaining men in black, treat the injured, and arrange for the Royal Knights to clean up the battlefield. After a while, the team resumed its formation and moved on. Chapter 348 Arrive at Wuhan City. Hu Jiu, Tang San, those people just came for us. After the battle, Flender came to Hu Jiu and Tang San with a serious face. Well, to be precise, it's for me and Xiaozhen. Hu Jiu snorted coldly. Wuhan Hall, we have settled our revenge now. Mew. XIU will be destroyed by Lin Feng. You are all too talented, especially you. The food type soul sage who has not arrived at the age of 15 has never appeared in Douluo continent. What's more, you can help others to cultivate. This talent is too enchanting. Flender nodded with a heavy expression. I've decided. Let's give up participating in the finals and let you graduate directly. Maybe this can save you a disaster. From the conversation between Douluo and Douluo, Flender also guessed who attacked them. Although he knew that Wu Hundian did it, he couldn't do anything, and he had to pretend he didn't know anything. Only in this way could he protect the safety of Hu Jiu and the others. I can hide for a while. Can I hide for a lifetime? Besides, I don't want to live in hiding. Hu Jiu grinned, showing deep white teeth at the corners of his mouth. What's more, they don't dare to deal with us in the open because of their reputation, and there is still Uncle Heo. If they want to deal with us, unless Pope Bibidang does it himself, they will die as much as they come. Hu Jiu was very confident about Tang Heo's thigh point, that is to say, Tang Heo is still injured. Otherwise, I'm afraid that Wuhan Hall will have to walk around when they encounter them. Heoshan. Douluo. Flender's eyes lit up, and he almost forgot about this big guy. If he is there, we really don't need to be afraid of them. If that's the case, then we have to participate in this finals. It is. Not only do I have to participate, but I also need to be in the limelight. I want the spirit hall to see how powerful Lashreck is. What kind of golden generation is garbage in front of us? Hu Jiu sneered, and had an interesting idea. Yes, let them see how powerful we are. The golden generation is nothing. There is no place for them to come out. Mahanjan echoed loudly. Exploded. Battle. Daimyo Bei was even more straightforward. Just one word showed his determination. Okay, then let's have a big fight. When we compete, don't hide your strength. Use as much strength as you have to sweep the audience. Hu Jiu said loudly with a gleam in his eyes. Sweep the field. The 11 Shrek monsters shouted in unison, their voices firm. Wuhan Hall. The tiger is out. In the crowd, Tang San smiled coldly, a flash of excitement flashing across his face. Cough, cough. In the forest outside the team, Tang Heo sat on the ground with a flat expression, leaned his back against a tree trunk, raised the jug, and took a gulp of wine, but it could be seen from his actions that his hand was on the ground. He trembled slightly, but he didn't have the power and domineering he had when he shot just now. Dad, this is Lang Ci. You take it first, and I will clear the meridians for you. The figures of Tang San and Hu Jiu appeared in front of Tang Heo. As soon as they appeared, Tang San rushed forward and took out a piece of herbal medicine. Although Lang Ci is not a fairy grass, it is considered a fine product among herbal medicines. It can't make Tang Heo's injury better, but it can stabilize the injury. I'm not as fragile as you think. Don't worry, I won't die. Tang Heo's eyes softened, and he didn't refuse Tang San to help him heal. At Tang San's current level, the internal power of Zuan Shan Gong in his body was already enormous, and it would be no problem to repair Tang Heo's injury a little. After taking Lang Ci, with Tang San's help, Tang Heo's injury was quickly stabilized. Not only that, but it also improved. It didn't break or stand. It was his current situation. That, Xiao Jiu and I have decided to continue participating in the Spirit Master competition. Okay. Tang San told him, and Hu Jiu's decision. Okay, this is my son. Take part in the competition with confidence and let them see how good you are. With me, they can't hurt you. Tang Heo patted Tang San on the shoulder and said domineeringly, Uncle Heo is domineering. Hu Jiu looked at Tang Heo enviously, but was thinking in his heart that he would try to enter the Wuhan temple alone and spank Bibidang on the ground. This bitch actually dared to send someone to assassinate him. He wrote down this hatred and solace. When he became a title Douluo, they secretly killed him, saving him from jumping around. The rest of the journey seemed calm, the only exception being that Tang San and Daimyo Bei left in the middle. Flender decided that, since he wanted to continue the competition, he would show their style. At least Tang San and Daimyo had to let them go. Bei absorbed the 6th spirit ring. To this end, Flender personally went out and took Tang San and Damu Bay to look for the 6th spirit ring point at that time. They agreed to meet in Wuhan City Point 10 days later. They finally came to Wuhan City Point. Wuhan City was built from scratch by Wuhan Temple, which was funded by oneself. Point compared with the main cities like Shandao City and Soto City, Wuhan City is even taller and more majestic. The city wall alone is 80 meters high, and the thickness of the city wall is more than 30 meters. Seeing such a majestic city, even if the wealthy Ning Fengzi could only sigh in admiration. Point walking into Wuhan City. The streets are tidy and there are many shops. Most of the shops here serve soul masters. Some precious soul tools can only be regarded as normal here, even space type storage soul tools. The sale shows the prosperity of the city. Point they were greeted by a cardinal, and under his leadership, everyone was arranged to enter a restaurant on the north side of the spirit hall. Point Hu Jiu swept the hotel lightly and found that the service staff in the hotel were also soul masters, and most of the soul powers were above the 20th rank. This is too prosperous. Oscar looked at all this in amazement, feeling dizzying. Of course, Spirit City is the most desirable place for spirit masters, and it is normal to be prosperous. Zhao Wuji explained carelessly. Point not long after staying there, Flender returned with Tang San and Damu Bay. How is it? Is the trip going well? Liu Erlang asked, and Hu Jiu and the others also looked at Flender with anticipation. Of course, it's not easy to find soul beasts with me, Flender said complacently. Point he really has the ability to say this. As a spirit Douluo of the agility attack type, and he is still a flying type, it is really difficult for him to find a few spirit beasts under Tang San and Damu Bay's narration. Hu Jiu also understood the spirit abilities they had acquired. Point this time, the age of the spirit rings absorbed by the two of them was about 20,000 years, barely reaching the limit. After absorbing the spirit rings, their rank also reached the 61 level, officially becoming the Control Type Soul Emperor and the Assault Type Soul Emperor. Chapter 349. Tang San's 6th spirit ability was called Shift. He could shift his position through the blue-silver grass, and the place where the blue-silver grass grew was his territory. Point the current transfer range can reach 200 meters, and this range increases as the level increases. Damu Bay's 6th spirit ability is called White Tiger, Shattering and Killing. It is a powerful attacking spirit ability. A dazzling golden light erupts from his entire body. His body changes shape several times in the air, forming a huge killing word in the air to imprint on the enemy. Strong attack power, has a very strong penetration effect. That's not bad. With the shift position, your combat effectiveness is already formed, and it matches your blue-silver grass. Hu Jiu patted Tang San's shoulder with a look of admiration. The spirit skill of shift. If it develops, the effect will be comparable to his teleportation. Then, third brother, can you bring others along with you to transfer your position? Ning Rangrang asked curiously. This question made Oscar also curious. If Tang San could bring people to change positions together, then their safety would be more guaranteed. Point Tang San carefully sensed his own spirit ability, and then fell silent. I can't bring people, I can only change position by myself, but after the spirit ability grows, it should be able to do it. Oh. Ning Rangrang turned around boringly, looked at Hu Jiu with a smile on his face, and leaned towards him naturally. Brother Jiu, remember to protect me in future battles. Tang San, so, you are such a Rangrang. Don't make trouble. Tell me about your current level and let me see how much everyone has grown during this time. Hu Jiu patted Ning Rangrang's head. Under Wu's playful eyes, he could only put it down calmly. Point Hu Jiu. Martial Soul Ginseng, Level 74 Food System Soul Sage. Point Zio Wu, Martial Soul Soft Bone Rabbit, 64th Level Agility Attack Type Soul Emperor Tang San, Martial Soul Blue Silver Grass, 61 Control System Soul Emperor Damu Bay, Martial Soul White Tiger, 61 Assault Type Soul Emperor Zhu Zuking. The Martial Soul Ghost Cat, the 54th Level Agility Attack Type Soul King. Point Mahanjan, Martial Spirit Phoenix, the 52 Attack Type Battle Spirit King. Point Oscar, Martial Soul Sausage, the 52 Food Type Auxiliary Soul King. Point Ning Rangrang, Hu Jiu Bao Glazed Tile Pagoda, 52 Auxiliary Soul King. Point Men Yiren, Martial Soul Dragon Staff, the 52 Attack Type Battle Soul King. Point Taelong Martial Spirit Gorilla, 46th level assault type battle spirit sect point Jiangsu, a scepter of Wuhan healing, a level 44 auxiliary soul sect point in general, in the 20 or so days since the promotion, and coming to Wuhan city. The spirit power of the 11 Shrek monsters has almost increased by 1 level. At present, the Shrek team has 1 soul saint, 3 soul emperors, 5 soul kings and 2 soul sects act as substitutes. Such combat power is no longer on the same level as those students in the finals, including the golden generation of Spirit Hall. Hey, we are all so strong, how can we let other people live? Oscar sighed sadly. Yes, Aojet, you are too strong. Why don't you give me the chance to play? I can withstand the test, and my level is not high. Let me play and fight them. Taelong said pitifully. The Shrek 9 devils were not enough to play, but now they have to sweep the audience, let alone his SharePoint even let him show his face. This is the finals of the Continental Advanced Spirit Master Competition. Even showing a face is a great honor. I won't do it. I still want to show my face on stage. With their level, food type auxiliary soul masters like Oscar are already dispensable, and only 7 people can be on stage, and the one who is most likely to fall is his. Although Ning Rang Grang is also incapable of fighting, she is a little fairy who can act coquettish and cute. Even if the dead fat man doesn't come to power, there is still a place for Ning Rang Grang. There are so many opportunities to come on stage. No one can come on stage. Let's take turns. Tang San smiled. That's good. As soon as these words came out, Oscar and Taelan were relieved, and even Mahanjan and Meng still breathed a sigh of relief. They had reached the finals. They didn't want to have no chance to even take the stage. 3 days have passed in a blink of an eye, and today is their day of competition. Point under the leadership of the staff arranged by the Spirit Hall, Shrek and his party of more than 10 people rushed to the finals in a mighty manner. Hu Jiu and the others were all aggressive, not like they were here to compete, but rather like they were here to kill people. Point when students from other academies saw them, those they knew honestly stepped aside and did not dare to stand in the way. Point as the Shrek people moved forward, a large area was actually cleared on their way, and they were allowed to go ahead domineeringly. Point for the finals of the Continental Advanced Spirit Master Elite Competition. The venue was in the Spirit Hall. In order to hold this competition, the Spirit Hall had also set aside a large area for the formation of the ring. Point the huge ring is also 100 meters in diameter, made entirely of granite. Point in addition, a huge number of soul tools were placed on the ring to reinforce the ring to prevent damage. Point it is said that this ring is strong enough to withstand attacks below the Soul Emperor level, and it is difficult to be broken artificially. Point but Hu Jiu was deeply suspicious of this, and he decided to find a chance to try it to see if he could smash it with a hammer before waiting for the start of the game. Flanders began to explain the rules of the finals to them, lest they know anything. The finals are about to start. Let me tell you about the finals system. Don't. Hu Jiu interrupted Flender very simply. Dean Flender, don't talk about the competition system. There is nothing to say. You just need to tell us when you will come on stage. It doesn't matter who your opponent is. It doesn't matter what the rules are. Okay, then I'll leave you alone. You can figure it out for yourself. Flender slapped his lips, feeling that he was losing more and more status as the dean. Wouldn't it be nice to give a motivational speech to the students? How come it doesn't work for him? Haha, old ghost, don't talk about it. Even I'm tired of listening to your cliches. Let's go to the draw. The children are still waiting to see who the opponent is. Zhao Walqi glanced at Flender with disgust, waved him off to run errands. HMPH, it's the other way around. It's the other way around. People who don't know think I'm your nanny. Flender mumbled crookedly for a while, and finally ran to draw lots. No way. Now Hu Jiu and the others are his treasures, and it is his hope to become famous. As long as Hu Jiu and the others show their strength in the finals, his Shrek Academy will also become famous. When he wins the finals, he doesn't need to do anything, and naturally countless students are rushing to enter his Shrek point soon. Flender came back, and from the smile on his face, he knew that the result of the lottery was obviously very good. Chapter 350 The Abnormal Damu and Zhu Zuking. Dean Flender, who is our first round opponent? Oscar asked curiously. Point. When they met Shrek, who no longer concealed his strength, their opponents were indeed unlucky. It's Blazing Academy. Flender replied, "Huo, it turned out to be them. It's really unfortunate." Xiao Wu had a playful expression on her face. Blazing Academy, she could be singled out by herself. It's a pity that they have already abstained. Today's game does not have your share, not only in the first round, but also in the second round. Flender looked regretful, and he was also looking forward to his students to show their power in the arena again. Ah, this is abstention? Xiao Wu sighed in disappointment, and then felt wrong. Could it be that our opponent in the second round also abstained? No way. I asked you to listen to me explaining the rules of the game, but you don't listen. Now you know that you are confused. Flender glanced at Hu Jiu angrily, and then explained, there are rules in the competition, and the one who won the first place in the promotion round the academy will have buys in the second round, which is one of the benefits of the qualifying round, and allows you to get plenty of rest. Now, your opponents in the first round have abstained. That is to say, you can rest for 2 days, and wait until the third day to participate in the competition. Oh, it's such a pity. 2 rounds of buys, we directly became the top 10. What a sense of achievement. Ning Rangrang shook his head and laughed. It seems that Huo Wu and Huo Washang have really joined the Kamikaze Academy. In this way, the Kamikaze Academy will have a Spirit Master team with all members above the 40th rank. Tang San touched his chin and whispered, "What's the matter? Even if they are all 50 level Soul Kings, it's useless. If they meet us again, they will be considered unlucky." Hu Jiu chuckled lightly. Then, it depends on their luck. Tang San nodded in agreement. If he really met them, it would be quite unlucky. Paying such a high price, he didn't even want the name of the academy, and they were stunned by them as soon as they came to power. Thinking of this, Tang San could only mourn for them. Fortunately, when the game starts, the second game will be Kamikaze Academy, and he will be fighting against Star Luo Empire's Nightshade Academy. But when the Kamikaze Academy players appeared, the crowd immediately exploded. The Academy of the Star Luo Empire did not feel anything, but the Academy of the Heaven Dao Empire discovered something different. In the team of Kamikaze Academy, Huo Wu and Huo Washang actually appeared. In addition, there were 2 other members who also belonged to Blazing Academy. Together, these people turned the team of Kamikaze Academy into Spirit Masters of level 40 and above. They really did it. Liu Erlang looked at Flender in surprise. Hearing it is one thing, seeing it with your own eyes is another. After all, the rules of the competition say that the contestants cannot make substitutions in the middle. They took advantage of the rules, and they paid a lot of money. Otherwise, the Spirit Palace would allow them to do this? Hu Jiu sneered, and then saw everyone's curious eyes. I explained to them a little bit why. It turned out that the reason why Huo Wu, Huo Washang and others were able to participate in the battle as Kamikaze Academy was because they were all transferred. Of course, just transferring to a hospital is definitely not enough. So Huo Wu then got into the relationship with Wuhan Temple, promising to join Wuhan Temple after participating in the finals. Talents like Huo Wu and Huo Washang, of course, Wuhan Temple would not refuse. And they do so in accordance with the rules of the game. Although it was stated in the competition rules that the participants could not be replaced midway, Huo Wu and Huo Washang were already on the list of participants. They just changed a college. In principle, they did not violate the rules of the game. I'll go ask. After hearing this, Flender felt very unhappy. He turned around on the spot and went to Wuhan Temple to ask for clarification. Except for Flender, the other academies responded even more and directly protested to the Spirit Hall. For Hu Jiu and the others, Huo Wu and others did not pose much of a threat. Even if they merged with Kamikaze Academy, it was almost like an opponent that could be dealt with one punch turned into 2 punches. But other academies are different. Because of Huo Wu and others joining, Kamikaze Academy has become one of the most powerful teams in all academies. They have no confidence to defeat the current Kamikaze Academy. However, Spirit Hall's response was extremely tough. In a word, if you want to participate, you can participate. Wuhan Shop is so arrogant. These academies didn't want this answer, and then they found the representative of the Heaven Dao Empire, the eldest Prince Zuking, and asked him to preside over justice. But Zuking is not an idiot. How could he participate in such a thing? And the Kamikaze Academy belongs to the Heaven Dao Empire. If he can achieve a good result in the finals, the honor will not be a share of the Heaven Dao Empire. Don't forget, among the academies participating in the finals, there are people from the Star Luo Empire. The first 2 rounds of competition were soon over, and the top 10 elite competitions of senior colleges across the continent were born. The 3rd round is about to begin. In the 3rd round, Shrek Academy's opponent in the draw was the Star Luo Royal Advanced Spirit Master Academy. When they heard that the opponent was this academy, Damu Bei and Zhu Zuking's expressions changed at the same time. 9th. Brother, Little San, can you let me play alone in this battle? Damu's white mustache was all parted, and the aura of his whole body leaked out uncontrollably, as if he was about to explode with excitement. And me. Zhu Zuking looked at Damu Bei coldly. This is not your business alone. Different. From his usual cold expression, the current Zhu Zuking exudes an icy aura all over his body, as if he wants to freeze everything in his sight. Okay, I'll leave this battle to the 2 of you. Rang, and I will also accompany you and give you blessings. After all, we are a team. Hu Jiu stretched out his hand to hold Zhu Zuking's hand and said softly, "What's going on?" Tang San and the others looked at them ignorantly, completely unaware of what happened. Could it be that Boss Day and Sister Zuking have a grudge against the people from the Xingluo Royal Academy? Oscar guessed, haha, if you have a grudge, that's right. Damu Bei gave a wry smile, not knowing how to explain it. It's up to me. Zhu Zuking seemed to have seen Damu Bei's embarrassment and was the first to explain. It's said to be a grudge, but it's actually just an internal struggle within the family. Boss Day and I are both from the Star Luo Empire, and we belong to the 2 major families. As you both know of our spirits, we can join forces to use our spirit fusion skills. Because of this, our 2 families have a close relationship, and there is a custom of marriage. What? Marriage? Tang San and the others looked at Damu Bei and Zhu Zuking in shock, and then turned their attention to Hu Jiu. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.